Captain's log. Stardate 421362178436579.6. We've been without power for 4 days. It's a matter of desperation. We ate Mr. Sumu.
Captain, we've found the problem.
What?
Scotty got drunk and hit the off switch again.
Well, shit. Greetings and welcome once again to Roman of the Empire. I am your host, Roman. Tonight, we are continuing our conversation on our favorite Star Trek, the original series classic episodes. So thank you all for being here tonight. Tonight's show is on the battle bridge of the USS Empire. So, Copa, I was a little worried. I panicked. I got the text or the DM, and I was like, "The baby's coming. It's the baby. He's gonna put her in the room. Then he's gonna come out and he's gonna do the show with me."
Nah, I was taking a nap. No, I'm just kidding. No, I got swamped at I got swamped at work, and I barely made it for the opening, which was fantastic. By the way, I couldn't tell if it was you or the original Star Trek.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
that's funny.
So, with me, my neighbor to the north, the devil in the city of angels, he is StephenRansom. Welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Pretty damn good, man. This episode number 2. I let's pray for an episode number 5. There's certainly plenty to talk about, right?
There is, and I am going to throw out the warning to you all. I have to be off the bridge by 1930 hours, or Mrs. of the Empire is going to relieve me of my command. So, for those of you who know what I'm talking about. So he is the man who knows all the things about all the things. He is the Kobayashi bearer, the true no-win scenario. Unbearable 73, the Thad it shouldn't be, our good friend Matt. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Greetings. This is my friend Spock's Vulcan hand salute. I have a better one for the people of Earth, but it might not be broadcast on YouTube.
Oh my.
How are you doing, gents?
Doing well. I'm excited about tonight.
So, Mrs. of the Empire is threatening the dilithium crystals, so to speak. You know.
Yes, the dilithium crystals are in danger of cracking, or fracturing, or whatever the fuck they d. So with me also is screenwriter, author, soon to be new dad, man about town, Copa Catania.
Yo. Yeah, I'm going to be a new dad fairly soon. Like we're in the days now instead of months, and it's terrifying me.
Oh no, it's the thing is, even after it happens, it's no less terrifying. I'm on
I feel good about this already.
Every day there's a new horror. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Thanks for bucking me up there, dude.
Well, married people are always the best advertisement.
Yeah, well, you know what? At least you're still a young man and doing this. One of my best friends, who's an idiot, but I love him. He's my age, and I'm ancient. You all know this, but about 7 years ago, he fathered his son, and it's like, bro, you're going to be the guy at the graduation. People are going to be like, is that your grandpa? No, it's my dad. Help me with the walker, son. Get up there with you. So he is my favorite internet wizard. He comes and goes as he pleases. He is the man with the beard. He is Blair de Blair. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Nice seeing you guys again. It's been so long.
It has. It's been at least 3 days.
Yeah.
Instead of submarines, we're talking about starships.
Submarines in space now.
True. True.
Yeah,
True.
Copa, that's one of my favorite moments in Star Trek Voyager. It's like we've got two crew members that have gotten together. She's pregnant. She's a Klingon warrior that has gotten pregnant, and she's having false labor continuously, like for weeks on end.
Yeah.
And they're like, if this keeps up, we're never going to get any sleep. And the doctor's just like, you're planning on sleeping now? It's like, don't you realize what's about to happen to your whole life in 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the suggestion I keep getting is get your sleep now, dude. Get your sleep now. And I'm like, yeah, is there like a sleep bank? Like, do I just gather all the sleep I can now and put it in a bank to
Yes. That
what are you talking about? Like, I'm just
it's
not
not
going
like
to get any sleep.
hibernation
You know,
or something.
yeah.
You can't just accumulate fat on your skin.
Right.
when that birth was going to happen on Voyager, I was so hoping because I kind of Voyager. I don't despise it the way I do anything after Voyager, but like I was close, and so I was, and I knew Voyager would constantly go for hammy crap. I was hoping they would have to have Paris, like you know how when the Klingons die, they do like a war cry to alert the other Klingons in the afterlife that a Klingon warrior is coming. I was hoping Paris would do like a war cry to alert the world that a Klingon baby would have to be born, and be walking around the Enterprise doing like Klingon war cries. I was hoping they would go for that because that was so freaking funny that
It's fun.
Yes, that's intentional this time. That's not a random sound this time, which occurs occasionally on the show. So we have 4 episodes that we're going to talk about tonight, and we've got a decent amount of time to discuss each one. And we are going to start. Copa, this was both you and Shieldwall had picked this one, and we are going to talk about, if I hit the right key here in
Spock's brain. That's not Spock's
brain.
Be quiet.
Oddly enough, it is not Spock's brain. It helps if I actually share shit.
Hey, Spock's brain is better than every episode of Discovery, Picard,
It's true.
Brave New Worlds, and Enterprise combined.
I hear Picard is really good. Season 3.
Oh yeah.
So we are going to be talking about Amok Time, and this is a huge favorite of mine as well, because you can't even look at the pictures without hearing the fight music.
Yep.
Episode what is it?
It's
Does
in
it give me
the
an episode number on these? I don't think it does.
It's
season
it's
2,
the second
episode
season
1.
premiere.
Yeah. And we got the cable guy reference in it too.
And we just got a hit. So this was written by Theodore Sturgeon, is a name that I am actually not familiar with. So like I said, we were talking about the writing last week, and how these episodes have a single writer, and is that why they're so good? Maybe. Single writer brings their vision and not a partial vision to the table.
It's not
interestingly enough, it's the credited author. Usually there's a bunch of back and forth with notes being taken by the production staff and the studio, but the original author that begins the project and basically puts an umbrella over the plot line that they're intending, they usually wind up getting credit. Most of these episodes do have other writers that will spruce up a scene or punch up some dialogue. Copa, I'm sure you could back me up on that one for sure.
Yeah.
Sturgeon.
Well, when you have like multiple writers on a show, it starts to be too many people are taking too many pieces of the pie type of deal. Usually you'll have somebody like come in and do the plot and stuff like that, and maybe someone else would come up right behind them and clean up the dialogue, and that's about it. But this day and age, it's like you need 7 to 10 writers to write just one movie, when back in the day it only took 1 or 2. I mean, you had like someone like William Goldman who could just type out a screenplay and it becomes an Academy Award winner, versus you see the writing credits now and it's like everybody and their friend is writing this thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's better when you have a solid vision, and then someone like Gene Roddenberry comes in and says, "Okay, we could clean this up here. This could fit in this way. We'll need to scrap that," and it kind of it's kind of a nurturing process when it's 2, maybe 3 people.
Yeah, Theodore Sturgeon, he's a classic science fiction writer. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
He's from that same era, like you remember Joseph Campbell wrote Who Goes There in the 50s?
Yeah.
He's from that same
from
era of like short story novella writers from the
Got
40s and 50s.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think Blair de Blair actually has a writing credit on She-Hulk. So,
And Amok Time is an episode of Star Trek that Voyager managed to screw up and make fun of and mock 2 times, not just once, but twice.
I'd
Hands
say
up,
it's
my
impressive,
Voyager.
but
Once where they turned that Vulcan into like a Ponfar stalker / wannabe, rapist, so to speak, when he went to the Ponfar.
here.
Do you remember the Vulcan who was stalking Torres? Right?
Yeah.
And the other one where Tuvok was going to the Ponfar and they somehow made a hologram capable of satisfying his psychic powers. Remember the Ponfar is like a psychic thing.
It was like the flesh hologram, the holodeck?
Yeah, and how did that even
deck?
work? Because Vulcan, it's a psychic
feel
thing
dirty
when they
just
do
saying
that,
I don't want to know. I don't want to think about it. So, Copa, this was one of the ones that you had wanted to talk about. So we're starting off here in the hallway with Nurse Chapel making some delightful soup.
So fine. You know what I like about the original Star Trek is just how high these skirts go. So fine. Now they wear pants. As the skirts dropped into pants through later episodes and later TV series, that's your indication of how bad this show's has gone.
If you look in early TNG, you will see female crew members and even a male crew member with the classic sort of miniskirt dress.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and just being like,
"Don't." Then it's wrong now.
Well, because it was
very progressive.
Well, the craziest thing about that, and I hate to bring up JJ, but in the 2009 Star Trek, the lead actresses were all really excited to wear those old school outfits. I mean, they were actually really into it. They wanted to. So, whatever. It's so bizarre. The whole thing is so weird. Anyway.
Yeah. Don't you remember when they did the time trial episode of Deep Space Nine, and on screen Dax was like, "Oh my god, I get to wear those klets." That's how the actress felt in real life. By the way,
that's right.
She's the one who put that in
the Tribble episode.
Yeah.
Whatever the Tribble episode was.
Yep. Even more trouble,
something
like that.
Yeah.
Spock did not dig that soup. So
no.
Chapel's got this thing for Spock. Spock's like, "Lady with your soup."
Seriously, that's just flavor. It's just flavored water.
If you go back to that scene, Roman, it looks like Spock splattered some dude on the wall because it's like red color.
It does. It's true. You can see the bowl down here dropping.
Yeah.
I mean,
Spock's got some buildup, dude. Like
Spock hit him so hard he just vaporized onto the wall.
Every 7 years.
Yeah, he's got some buildup. He's getting aggressive. That's just the way it is for us dudes. Maybe it takes a little bit longer for Vulcans to get that buildup going, but man, he's backed up.
He's like, "Damn you, lady,
woman!"
And she's like, "What the fuck, Spock?
You pink-skinned human."
And he just slams the door on him, which is hilarious.
Spock, I can't keep going through crew members like that when you get into a get into a cramp. It's like,
give me some sugar, baby.
Again, what the fuck, Spock?
Yeah,
Vulcans don't like to talk about it, Captain.
Like,
it's very embarrassing.
Bro, go stroke one in the shower, dude. Like,
go rub one out. You'll be better.
Yeah, you'll be better.
In a future warping of Star Trek, you can satisfy Spock's Ponfar needs. Maybe you can do it now.
Because they were other way somewhere, and
God, I can't.
I forget where exactly it was, but Spock needed to get back to
a diplomatic conference.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was kind of a nothing thing, and because I remember Kirk saying there's going to be, because he's talking to Starfleet Command, "Hey, we need to go to Vulcan," and they're like, "Well, yeah, but you're scheduled to go to the wherever the fuck," and he's like, "There are going to be." We would be one of 3 other starships that are going to be there.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like Altair 4 or 5 or something like that.
There's some sort of like a big diplomatic ceremony they want Kirk present for.
So so they've been deterred. They are waylaid from Vulcan. They got to go to the fucking the dog and pony show. And then
Kirk does the Kirk thing and just disengages with that shit and goes goes
Well,
to Vulcan.
not for a while. Because right
Oh
now,
yeah, that's
Spock-
true. That's
Spock
right.
just changed the course of the ship to go back to Vulcan.
Yeah.
That's why he's getting the call. He's like, "What?" And then he's pissed. That is the classic.
He's like, that's the classic meme of the guy who's disappointed. Right there.
Yes. At the ball game, he's all like his hands on his hips.
Yeah,
and that
his
look.
hands on his hips. Well, Spock, what have you done?
But then Spock explains to him here that he doesn't even remember doing it. He's like, "It's entirely possible that I did that shit, Captain. I'm kind of fucked up right now."
Yeah.
So yeah, he gets the exam, and his vitals are all through the roof. And he's like, the technology here is funny. I know it works, but it was still kind of amusing. He's just sitting there staring at this picture of his child
Ew,
bride
creepy.
on Vulcan.
All right.
It's
okay.
it's sure it's your
Next.
child bride, Spock. You need to come with us.
Now,
That handsome guy comes out of the closet.
this is
Chris Hansen shows up.
Why don't you have a seat right over there?
being somewhat serious. This is a writing flaw because, like, we know the writers were making this up on the fly. Like there was no show Bible where there was a Ponfar and whatever. But like, it is kind of writing flaw that Starfleet should know about this thing in general and be like, General Order 72, when the Vulcans have to go back to Vulcan every 7 years, you can take the Vulcan back to Vulcan every 7 years.
Yeah, you think they would have like short leave for these people, like some kind of military medical thing?
Does anybody?
It's in the manual. It's in the Vulcan manual.
Yeah. Does anybody know how much time they were usually on a ship? I'm sure that's a thing that people.
Well, at the beginning of the episodes, start off with we're on a 5-year mission.
Yeah, you
to
go for the
explore
whole way.
treasures.
Well,
This
yeah,
isn't-
but I mean, you get port visits and stuff. Even in Starfleet, you get port visits. But it's just their tours are really fucking weird.
Well, remember though, in TOS, there's only like 50 starships for the entire Federation.
There's not
So
a
they're
ton.
on long patrols.
Right.
These are like Next Generation where there's like 50,000 starships.
Yeah. So
These
hey,
are like
before we
nuclear
get too far
subs.
in, I want to say hi to everybody who's out there. So the soon to be, oops, that's fucking Shieldwall. Hey, Shieldwall.
Hey, Shieldwall.
Hey, buddy. So
Hi, hello,
Shieldwall's not with us
Shieldwall.
tonight.
Yeah. Where is he?
He got in an altercation, and he's actually in a Mexican prison, but he does have internet use down there. So
That's good.
thank you for being with us, buddy. So
Yeah,
He
this is
slipped-
one
he
phone
slipped the-
call.
He slipped the federales
Mom?
$5 and got internet access.
subtle diversity is here. As always, our good friend Nosferatu the vampire.
father.
Zax was in here. I saw Zax earlier as well. Zax, always with us. Always watching. Always watching. Wookie be bad.
Zax.
Happy to have you with us tonight. Looking forward to being on your show later in the month. Zombie Box Reviews. Hail, sir. And I think that's everybody who is in the chat. So it's thank you all for being here tonight.
And all the chats
so-
at sea.
And all the chats at sea. So they're having the conversation. I think it's like, what the fuck are we going to do with you, Spock?
Right.
I don't know, but Uhura is looking better and better every time I look at her.
And Jim's trying to get them to go to Altair 4. We'll call it Altair 4 for the purpose of this stream. If I'm incorrect, feel free to correct me in the chat. Please don't write a dissertation as to why I'm wrong later on. It's unnecessary. You can just say Altair 5 or whatever. It's fine. And so I love this because you're like, we're going to change course again. I do not want to change course again. I just changed course. In Russia, you don't change course. Course change you.
What's changed you?
I know I'm a
They're
monkey
getting
replacement.
frustrated.
I'm a monkey insert.
With his
Other
wig.
female,
Yeah.
attractive female.
So Spock's in here trying to pluck out a few, and they call him. He just beats the fuck out of his gear. We've all been there.
Dude, he's just got to beat it. Like he's just.
Oh
Bro.
my! I don't know how many phones I went through in the Navy, but it was a very similar kind of thing.
Well,
You
why
know,
does
all
Bones
those
have a
memes
collection
of
of skulls in his office?
people destroying their computers, at the office when the internet became a real thing. Spock did it first, okay? TOS
Spock
did it first.
And this is where this dude's got some weird hair. Jim is talking to some Commodore, I'm sure. Is either
Whitey
Commodore or
Bulger.
Admiral. Trying to get the course to change ship again, because if we don't do this, Spock's going to die. We're going to change course again? Really? Fuck this shit.
No, Jim, you have to go to Zipline conference and let your
What
your
the
first
fuck
officers
is
die.
Christine doing here? She's just creeping around at Spock's. He's out. She's like, oh,
She wants to
sleeping
touch
Vulcan. Do you think it's pointed too?
it.
I'm sorry.
Oh
I don't mean to mock Star Trek. I mock it lovingly. I love Star Trek. I'm
Does
making
Spock have a
jokes.
weeping angel in his room? Did you see?
I
that
just
in
want
the
to know
background?
if he parts the
Roman,
curtains,
go back
can we
one
see
scene.
the filming of Twin Peaks?
Right?
Look at that thing.
That thing?
Yeah.
That's not a weeping angel. Some kind of Vulcan
What is that? What is he
mummy
holding?
monkey thing.
It looks like he's
Wait,
holding a pair.
Oh, no, you don't want to want Christine walk in seeing that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And he asked her,
He went
"Could
from
you bring
6
me
to midnight. I'm out of
bring me a
here.
bowl of that delicious soup.
Yeah.
Oh, Spock. Oh.
Very
So-
anime. I just want to cook for my lover.
So at this point, Jim has said, fuck it, we're going to Vulcan. And so now they are arriving. There's kind of, who makes the call here? Oh, here she is. This is the young lady who is the child bride of Spock, who is no longer a child. T'Pring is her name. I'd like it to
Ariana
bring
Martel.
that.
Arlene Martel.
I'm sorry, that was
Jeez.
uncalled for. Please don't cancel me.
Put yourself on report.
Mr. Spock, she's beautiful. I don't know who the fuck she is. I'm assuming that's her. I haven't seen her in a very long time. The technology doesn't exist in this century to beam pictures back and forth.
What's with all the beaming?
She was in a lot of TV shows, that actress.
So lonely.
She just passed away not too long ago, too.
Oh, really? That's
Yep.
a shame. So now, they
10
beam
years
down
ago. Not even 10 years ago, yeah.
the classic Star Trek set.
Oh, yeah.
Hot as Vulcan, as they say.
So, Copa, what's the big part of this episode for you? I know that Roman definitely loves talking about it. What really drew you to this episode?
Well, I
this
think.
is
I think. Well, go ahead, Matt.
I was saying this is a euphemism how he met Mrs. Catania. He had to go.
Yeah.
He had to go to fight for her against a rival. This is how all Italians meet our wives.
Right? Yeah.
Fight for a rival and,
She came over for a party and she found me punching holes in the drywall, and she's like, "Wow, what a man! I want a piece of that." No, what draws me to this episode more than anything else is the fact that Spock is so out of character this episode. Just because he's showing so much emotion, and then on top of that, he feels so bad. I mean, we're going to get to the end, and I don't want to spoil it, but
I love that's a great scene.
Yeah,
it's go ahead. Sorry.
There is a fan film sequel to this, which is really good, by the way, called Of Gods and Men.
What is that on? Is that just a straight up?
You look on
Not
YouTube. Just search for
anything?
Star Trek fan film Of Gods and Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Note that, everyone. Throw that in the chat, Matt, if you so that people can look it up.
But yeah, there's so much emotionality to this
Yes.
episode, especially with Spock. But then I think this is the episode that really solidifies those three's relationship with each other and their friendship.
Mhm.
You really see their friendship dynamic in this episode, and it changes after this to where they're bonded more than ever.
Spock. That's or McCoy. Do you know who that is? T'Pau.
T'Pau.
I like Kung Pao personally, but I'll take a
No.
T'Pau. I'm sorry, that was bad. That was also bad. God damn me.
Well, as part of the lore, and I'm sure Matt could back me up on this, but not to get into it too deeply, but Gene Roddenberry and Emile Roddenberry were really, really into Japanese culture, so much so that their wedding ceremony was a Japanese one. So there's probably some earmarks in here from Japanese culture, kind of turned into the Vulcan culture.
Nimoy is Jewish, right? People don't know that. If you notice the sort of mountain Stark-esque nature to the Vulcan culture, that was kind of drawn from the Jewish sort of how the Jews came out of the mountains in the biblical times. And
I'm going to go back a couple
slides. I want to
share something here that this is the newer version that's enhanced. So this is Mount Seleia, though. This is the same. This is where they were in Star Trek 4. So you'll recognize the scenery from that. So when they made this, they obviously threw those little nuggets in there, and I thought they did a nice job with it. This, it's kind of a cool flash forward.
I want to say this is the first episode we see other Vulcans as well, other than Spock.
It is. Yeah, you learn more. You learn more about the culture right now than you ever had in the first season. All of a sudden, you now know they have to. They have like salmon. They have like a 7-year spawning cycle, and they have arranged marriages,
like salmon, they must return to the place of their birth.
Yeah, what Shieldwall said.
So they're getting ready to do the thing,
and their culture is very mirrored in like Asiatic culture as well, like the way they dress, and they have a big giant gong in there as well. So I'm sure that. Sure, that's racial sensitivity for the 60s. But
it's true, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's throwing up the little. Nope, I want to fight to the death.
Yeah, talk to the hand.
Man, typical woman too.
Really, that's some like woman shit.
That's some lady shit right there.
Like Kavorka or some shit.
I want to see your
hammer.
If in order to marry me, I want to see your friend bleed out. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Well, I do like
face. Look at that face. That's a frustrated man there.
That's a man who's about to. He's about to hit her in the forehead with that hammer.
Yep. He's thinking about
it. Yeah. What happened? What the fuck do you think happened, Jim?
One thing I like about the Vulcan culture, Roman, is. And they kind of nerfed this in Future Trek, but kind of kept it, is the Vulcan logic is on the balance between them and their savagery, and like the Vulcan psychic powers are out of control if they don't have logic and all that sort of thing, which they had in Next Generation with those psychic weapons, if you remember the episode, and then the contrast to the Romulans who master the savage by being ultra stoic and ultra, like they have their emotions, but they're in control of like this rigid discipline, so almost like Sarek, not Sarek, like the logic. The Vulcans who were in a Vulcan chose the path of logic, whereas the Vulcans who left follows different paths, different philosophers who, I always thought it was fascinating if they had done, instead of just bringing the Romulans back, but followed that trajectory, and there were other Vulcan offshoot cultures out there with different ways of living. I always thought that would have been a fascinating path to follow.
They showed one in Next Generation, and they're like a very primitive version of a Vulcan society.
Yeah.
But that was it. There were no other offshoots.
I know it would have been fascinating to follow that path of Vulcan colonization, so to speak, and see how other ways the Vulcan offshoots developed.
And then the challenge goes up, and instead of picking Stan, who has, even by Vulcan standards, unusually large ears, she picks Kirk, who doesn't understand what's about to happen. He's like, what?
He's about to find out.
Yeah. Well, they don't explain it to him before either. They don't give him the, hey, by the way, it's a fucking fight to the death. You're not just going to get in a tussle.
Are there rules about this? Like, hey, no outsiders, don't pick the human.
Well, no, she was gonna pick Stan, right, to fight for her, but Spock would lose that because he's not a full-blooded Vulcan according to the thing. So instead, Kirk got chosen, basically.
Oh wow.
Well, also,
it's a little bit of
Spock-
plot
Spock does
convolution,
his
I
little
admit,
speech
but
at the end as to the why of it too.
yeah.
And we'll talk about that when we get there. But he breaks his Pon Far trance thing to come over and talk to Pow. It's like, he does not understand our ways. It's basically he doesn't know what he's agreeing to. And she's like, it is done. What is done is done. What am I going to do? It is done. And he's like, well, fuck, I guess I'm in.
Good thing I brought an extra shirt with me.
And at this point, he understands it's a fight to the death because he didn't know that. He told McCoy, "Yeah, we'll exchange a thing and I'll let him knock my ass out," and then he wins. But now it's a fight to the death. He's like, "Well, fuck, I'm gonna have to think on my feet here."
There's an
Spock's
interesting
like,
mask in the background. What is that guy wearing on his face in the background of the previous
Oh,
shot?
the
It's one of
Vulcan,
those. It's one of those BDSM masks.
No.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
previous shot,
Yeah.
there's a guy wearing like a wedge-shaped black dust mask.
Oh no,
or
that
something.
dude. Yeah, that dude. That
Like,
thing.
what-
That is
what
are you wearing?
bizarre.
Shut up, slave.
Yep.
What am I gonna do with this? Oh my god,
This thing is very sharp.
Troika! And then it begins.
Yeah. Every kid on the school block when this premiered on WPIX for the first
Yep.
time
Yeah.
was playing just like this with the music in the background and everything. So schoolyards got very dangerous after
Beating the
this.
hell out of each other and
Spock's like swinging for the stars here, and he's like, Kirk's like, he's not fucking
Whoa!
around.
Yeah.
My nipples look spectacular.
Wow. Good thing I shaved my chest.
I was gonna say, and it's like instantly boosts
Spock,
Kirk's power level
you're
when
really-
the shirt rips, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, damn it, Spock, you ripped my shirt. I was trying not to kill you.
Oh, and you see the gong over here is broken. Spock
Yeah.
broke that shit.
he's going beast mode.
And then they get like a break. It's round two, and McCoy's like, "Let me at least give him a shot to even the odds. It's this damned Vulcan atmosphere. It's fucking with his blood, lady. Let me balance it out." And she lets him.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
That sounds legit. Go see your friend with some medicine.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going to stick
point
this
out-
Speedball
directly in his ass.
Yeah.
These are completely organic steroids, Jim.
I do want to
What
point
was
out
that?
that if the Vulcan atmosphere really were that thin, that he would have long since passed out.
Mhm.
So
Long
what is he?
Yeah,
It's like
he
a
would've
triox
died.
compound or something like that.
Triox.
Uh-huh.
Fuck. No, Nas, we're not going to talk about that.
That's for his
because
OnlyFans channel, you know.
That's oh my. Triox compound, something to balance out the blood. He lies to him.
Yeah.
Now he gives him this fucking bolo thing. He's like, "What am I gonna do with this?" Spock knows what to do with. He's like, "Fucker, you're down." And now he's like choking him out, like it's a fucking 8mm film.
Harder.
Yeah. Right.
And Bones is like, "I think he's had enough."
You're
He's
dead,
dead.
Jim. You're dead.
You're dead.
Asphyxiate.
Oh. And so Spock's like, "Well, I guess that shit's done." And he's
Yeah.
done.
Oh, I got that on my
Cool, bro.
system. Woo! That was much
And I
better.
like McCoy.
A little
he's
bit of
like,
murder
you know,
solves the Vulcan sex life, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, "Strange as it is, Mr. Spock, you're in command now. Please take the captain and beam back to the ship. I have some shit to take care of."
I got
Bitch,
this
you
bitch-
fucking and he's like, and he wants to know why. It's like, why? And she's like, "Well, you're always fucking gone. If you won, I'd have your
Yeah.
name and your title and all your lands, but big-eared fucking dude would be here. And if Kirk killed you, he doesn't want me, so I still got what's his fuck." And he's like, logical, flawlessly logical.
You clearly do not know Captain Kirk and his relationship with women if you did not think he was.
Right. Like, no.
But you get the great line, you may find that having is not so good a thing as wanting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kirk was still going to give her that hot soup.
So
Oh, yeah.
I guess we have some time now.
How about you make me some soup?
I like soup as well. So she's like, live long and prosper, Spock. I shall do neither. I have killed my friend.
See you
Thanks
7
for
years.
fucking
Yeah.
me over as
Yeah.
well.
Thanks for the
Beaming
blue
up
balls.
to get fucked.
It's great. Look, this whole room is blue. They're in blue. He's got
Just rubbing it in now.
yeah,
Just
this is
rubbing it
rubbing
in.
it in.
Rubbing it in, rubbing it
Yeah.
out. What's the difference? So
Science
he's explaining to
wins.
McCoy what he wants to do, what he needs to have happen now. Obviously, I'm not going to stay in command, blah, blah, blah. And we need to go to Starbase so that I can turn myself in. Oh, look. Oh.
Oh, he's
Who do you
so
think you should
cute.
ask your captain about that, Spock? And then my favorite scene in the whole episode, I think it's yours too, Copa.
Yeah. Absolutely. Is when he's yeah, right there.
Jim!
Jim,
Jim!
you're here. You're alive.
What,
Yeah,
That's
what the
Kirk.
fuck,
You didn't
Jim?
seriously think Spock could actually beat me? Look.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right, really.
right.
And I,
Oh, you summer child.
Going, now I'm beaming back down, and I'm going to show Stan what I really can do to a Vulcan, and just beats him. Like, so, bitch, whenever you mess with me again, this is what's going to happen to Stan every single time. And I don't even need a rip shirt to beat his lame bull.
And this is Starfleet calling them back and saying, yeah, you guys do whatever the fuck you want. We just got a call from DePau.
Yeah, she basically just ragged on him.
And it all worked out in the end.
And
Aw.
Spock's explaining, well,
Aw.
my response was completely logical, Doctor. I was merely relieved to see that the captain was in
Oh
good health.
yeah.
In a pig's ear.
I am relieved that you don't have to add my skull to the skull of the other victims
Really?
Captain
Is
Kirk
that-
you have on the wall behind me.
That's because Kirk gets a lot of head. That's why he's got all those
my.
skulls back there.
Yeah. It looks like a lizard crawling on the wall.
It is.
This is
That is a
this is
lizard
just
crawling. on
man.
the
I
wall.
love set direction from the 60s. It's all flat and everything is stuck to the wall.
Mhm.
And they'll just find something from the from the local gas
Hey,
station.
where's that
From the-
fucking lizard?
Most recent episode of Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, go next door to Gunsmoke and pick us up some cactus. We'll put it on the wall upside down. It'll look futuristic.
But
That
they
is
didn't know like a
a
baby
fun-
lizard
that's
crawling
a-
on the wall. Just leave it in.
Yeah.
We'll
That
say
is
it's
a
Star
fun
Trek thing.
fucking episode, though.
It was episodes like this that solidified Leonard Nimoy and Spock as a sex symbol during the 60s, man. It's like he just, you want to do a Christmas album, Spock? We're going to record you doing a Christmas album, okay? The girls
God.
love you.
We have to review those albums where Kirk and Spock sing. Like Spock does If I Had a Hammer, Leonard Nimoy, and then Shatner does like songs. He's done 2 albums. We
Have
have
you
to
guys-
do. If you guys never heard them, I'll find them for you.
Have you
But
heard
there's-
Shatner's Christmas album?
No.
I've heard.
Oh my
two
god,
Shatner
it is
albums. Yeah.
brilliant. Because he doesn't sing it all. He just talks through all the songs like
Yeah,
Shatner.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
I listen to it
All right,
every
so-
Christmas.
We have 3 episodes to go here.
What's
I
next?
think
Well, can I just bring up this little piece of trivia, which is Spock's parents didn't show up for his Ponfar.
Yeah, that's
those
right.
bastards. That's true. We
Yeah,
know they
dude.
exist.
Well,
What's her name? Amanda.
remember
and
though,
Sarah.
I mean, you can explain that because they might have been somewhere else in the Federation. There's only like so
Well,
many ships to transport people. He's an
it's
ambassador.
true. He wasn't an ambassador. He might have been.
Well,
off
they
doing
knew the
ambassador shit.
date. It's 7 years. They had it in their calendar. They could have made
Yeah.
an effort.
But also remember, Spock and his father might still be. I don't remember the
Well,
time.
they're still on the outs. You're right. Right now, they are on the outs because they never. Can we please watch his rendition of Rocket Man right now? I would, Nos, but it's not worth getting the copyright ping for.
Right.
Not that.
Yeah,
Nor is
which I
Spock
will
singing
certainly do.
about
Peter-
hobbits.
Peter Venkman fan site is here as well. Welcome.
Oh,
welcome.
okay.
Hello.
Pete Venkman, one of my favorites of all the Venkmans.
So let's see. Let's talk about the city on the edge of forever.
Oh hell yeah!
Woo, 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 woo.
This is another.
right.
I mean, we're such a fun, and we get Joan Collins, and this one actually they have They have 3 writers listed here.
Yeah, Harlan Ellison. Gene
DC
Rodney actually
Fontana.
made it a statement when he first started pushing for these episodes to get written. He wanted top flight, recognizable science fiction writing legends to write these episodes to kind of build up the credit of the show. And when he started, changing things in Ellison's screenplay, he basically created an enemy for life. I mean,
Oh dear.
Harlan Ellison is not to be screwed with.
So, and DC Fontana, which is I think the name that usually you hear associated with this episode, was DC Fontana. Yeah, it's a lady, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's the one who wrote the episode, and the other ones, and Dean Elcoon, of course, he seems to be attached to most of them. Yeah. But this is the one, like I said, that you hear her name on a lot. So that's why I'm wondering. It was back in the day, female writer. Was it like a thing? Probably.
They all went by their initials.
She's written a bunch of stuff besides this, though. I mean, she's written episodes of like Kung Fu.
Oh yeah, she
wrote future Star Trek episodes on like Deep Space Nine and all that. She wrote some episodes of Babylon 5. I remember that.
Well, let's not forget that Andre Norton was a real thing, and Andre was actually short for Andrea, who was a female author of the Time Trader series, or the Time Bandit series, or whatever the heck it is.
I was sharing all of that, wasn't I?
Yep,
that's okay.
Beside your porn collection.
At least you didn't see my Pon Far folder.
Interestingly enough, Joan Collins is on record saying that she wouldn't have taken this episode had her daughter not been a gigantic Star Trek fan. So basically, her daughter is responsible for this thing. She's like, "Mom, you got to go on this show. This is my favorite show of all time."
Nope, that's true. Shieldwall's right.
No, I can't argue. I can't argue it. So wait a minute, what?
He's right. I do.
He's right. You can't even.
Yeah, it's only for our anniversary dinner. Do I pull that thing out and wear it? And talk,
when you say the words together like that, it sounds a little scary. Just so you know.
There's also a little bit of Harlan Ellison came up with this episode. He built all the science fiction framework around it after the fact, but the time period and the character of Joan Collins was actually inspired by an actual evangelist during the 20s and 30s. She ran a soup kitchen and spoke the good book to all of her patrons.
That actually, when you use historical references, and you just you take the thing that was and you just make it a little bit this way. That stuff's that's the best. That is the best.
Well, you have a complete story to work with at that point.
Yes. So Enterprise is getting these shock waves, time waves from the planet below, which is a fascinating concept. That they're actually ripples in time are hitting the ship. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like weird concept stuff as well. And you get the the famous Star Trek getting tossed about, so to speak, not like in prison.
Yes.
Sulu's shit catches on fire, probably because he was looking at stuff he shouldn't have been looking at. I'm talking, guy.
For crying out loud, don't you guys know what a breaker is?
It's only the 23rd century. So Sulu is fucked. He's laying on. This must be the only other Asian cast member laying on her lap, which I think that's a little ist.
They also got her from Kung Fu as well.
She was next door. She was actually brought. She brought over the lizard prop from the previous episode. And they just, and Kirk has to point at Sulu like there's not someone else knocked out on the fucking bridge.
Oh my! Wow,
so
that's
eyeshadow.
So delightful.
Who does your makeup?
So McCoy. I forget what this compound is. Someone knows.
Quadrazine.
Thank you. And it's like a super hype. A little bit goes a long way. Kind of almost like an amphetamine type thing. But it's very unstable, experimental. And Kirk's like, "Are you sure you want to use?" And then McCoy injects him, and Sue was like, "Hello there."
Face
and McCoy was like, "You were giving me some medical advice, Captain." And so I don't know what the fuck McCoy's doing, why he's looking at this thing like it's. Well, I mean, I know why, because the script needs him to. But as far as a practical thing, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
It looks, this looks kind of like futuristic lipstick.
Well,
And then-
interestingly enough, this is quite literally the last thing that the producers added to the screenplay, and it's just to get the plot moving in a direction and get McCoy wackadoodle so
Crazy.
that he can jump through the port. So this is true
is,
silliness.
yeah.
Like
It is.
nobody really liked this. It was just a compromise that they had to get the script produced, and cameras are already on set. Let's get it going, guys. So it was a last minute toss in to have him stab himself with the damn hyper spray. It's ridiculous.
Another
Why are
time
you
roll
carrying
and-
100 doses?
That's the other
Yeah.
thing. You didn't ration this thing out, Doc. You got like literally every fucking dose on the ship in this one syringe. That seems impractical.
He had 100 doses of space LSD in his
There's
syringe.
not a lock
Yeah.
on it, where you don't accidentally inject yourself.
So you
The
don't
entire vial?
accidentally,
Yeah.
so you can
All
only,
right, let's just call it as we see it. He really did this shit on purpose.
Yes.
I just gotta end it all now. Fuck this.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
this
an
is the
accident.
17th time this week you have used space LSD by accident. What is going on?
Whoa!
He's like, oh, time ripples, dude. I'm getting high.
Could you imagine the sabotage song going off for this scene?
See, that works. That would work. So McCoy's like all super McCoy right now. He's throwing
Spock
crew
is like,
members around
I
like
think
they're
McCoy's going
ragdoll.
through the pond
Yeah.
far this episode.
Murderers, killers. You'll
This is
never
called-
take me. And then he
It's called the
runs off into the turtle.
PCP episode right here.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs, kids. So
It's like, here,
fucks
take a
this
dose
guy
of
up.
space LSD, my friend.
transporter
Absolutely
chief is fucking.
fantastic.
He's gone.
I want you to feel what I feel.
McCoy. I don't. This is forgive me for picking at the episode on this one though. It's not like McCoy knew what the fuck he was doing here. He just kind of went. He didn't really set the thing. It just threw some switches and went. He should have been scattered all over something or in something or whatever. It's just like he didn't know where the fuck he was going.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
He's a doctor, not a beam guy.
that's right.
Yes, and he would
McCoy
tell you that.
notoriously hates the
Not a
transporter.
transporter prediction.
Remember that. He hates it notoriously. So there's no
Well,
logical
Jason
explanation.
Stamos is way overrated, man. I mean, I hate the transporter as well.
Oh,
That's like
No.
the one major
Hanging-
flaw of
hanging
Star
fruit.
Trek 6 where McCoy can actually work on a photon torpedo out of nowhere. Remember that? You know,
Oh yeah.
like somehow I guess they said McCoy had to be a genius too, which is fine. But
and we love you.
Yeah.
So you got a couple red shirts here. That's almost never good. I don't know why exactly they brought Uhura along. I mean, I love Uhura. Everyone loves Uhura. That was actually a film in the late 60s. Everyone loves Uhura.
Oh,
Now, why the fuck is she there? She doesn't really serve a purpose on this landing party. They're going to find Dr. fucking McCoy, who should be by all rights dead. And they
I
brought
love-
the chief engineer as well.
Yeah,
Why would you not
yeah.
bring your chief engineer? I mean, duh.
I know.
So
Your chief medical officer's gone crazy. You're now
So
bringing
who's
the
left?
entire senior bridge, the captain, the second in command, the chief engineer, chief communication. Yeah.
they've left
You
the
just got
entire
It's all
Sulu.
fucking die.
ship under Sulu's control right now.
He's like,
Well,
I've always wanted to try this. Watch.
He's hopped up on drugs too.
Sulu's
so-
still high on space LSD. No.
that's also true. And then poor Chekhov's like,
Let's
Sulu,
take the
put your
take the
pants
ship
back on.
around for a
this is no way to
quick
run
orbit,
ship.
You know,
well, I can
So-
understand why Uhura would be brought. I mean, remember the beginning of the episode before all the wackiness started, they were having issues just maintaining position because of these temporal waves. So if you're going to go down with a command staff to the surface, you're going to want your chief communications officer because there might be communication problems talking to the bridge, on his end. And she brings the knowledge of how to transport, talk from the planet to the ship. I mean, there's something there that she would be necessary, perhaps. I mean, they are in a bubble. This whole planet
Well,
is
they
like
are.
disjointed from time.
And then Spock puts his hand on the thing, or Jim puts his hand. Someone put their fucking hand on it. Someone's handing this thing, and says,
Someone's
what is
fisting it.
I think it was
And then-
Mags
and then it's like-
reaching
and then
out
it
for the
wakes up, it's
giant
like-
donut.
Oh God.
"Yeah, it's like a question. I've been waiting for a long fucking time for a question." Then McCoy suddenly pops up from behind a rock like a weirdo, but that's fine.
Well, once again, that's the
Here it
piece
is.
of
Here it is. I'm
coffee.
sorry. This is when he does it. He does the question thing. And then it wakes up. Now it's a glowing donut. Maybe glazed. I wouldn't say that it's, or maybe possibly a fritter. And you're getting all the, it can take you anywhere. Of course, this is another question I have, and you guys are smarter than me. It only shows them Earth history, though. It doesn't show them anything else. It only shows them Earth history.
Right.
Yeah,
That's called budget.
yeah.
Look at
I think
those
the
eyes.
logic is that the Guardian is actually scanning them for their history, so to speak.
Yes, that's a possibility. I mean, it is a mental thing, right? I mean, this thing is talking to them.
True.
We don't know how, or how it's speaking English. So there's got to be a mental component in there somewhere. But I really wonder if Everything Everywhere All at Once stole their ideas about the
bagel,
the bagel of everything. Yeah,
easily. I mean, this definitely is a throw to that, or that was a throw to this for sure. Yeah, he's strung out, bro. Like someone's got to grab this guy.
I mean, I saw him on the subway just a few weeks ago.
Right? Yeah.
And now they're trying to get in touch with the ship. Everything's fucking there. There is no ship. And everybody tries their own devices to make sure that they're actually cut off.
Oh yeah,
Aurora's looking really attractive here. I just have to say.
He changed the future on him.
When isn't she looking attractive?
Right.
Yeah. Well, Star Trek 5.
Woman.
That's why Gene
Roddenberry. That's when she was starting to get the puffy hair. She was trying to get closer to God. Right.
She was also like 70 or so. I don't know.
So I mean, good.
I mean, she kept up pretty well for an older woman. I mean,
black don't crack.
That's
she
right.
looked 20.
Wait, what? So now you're getting the captain's log supplemental. We're fucked. McCoy really fucked us.
Our only options are to go back in time to solve McCoy or reproduce humanity with the Thanadora. Not good options either way. It's like,
so
don't we lose a red shirt at some point after Bones jumps through? Doesn't a red shirt just kind of disappear or something like that?
No. This is one of the weird episodes where you actually don't lose a red shirt. But
they're standing really close to each other.
Maybe they're just trying to, give them the, you guys are good too.
Yeah.
Well, they got to protect Uhura, the future mother of humanity.
So Kirk, they've surmised their plan right now. Spock recorded everything on his tricorder from a certain point.
That's
and
more.
Now they're going to try to go through as close to the moment where McCoy went through as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Did you keep showing McCoy's space LSD? That's Scotty's look there.
Scotty's like, he tells them all, each of you are going to have to go through at your own time. Give us a while, then one of you has to go. And if nothing else, you'll at least live your life out in some timeline. And they're like, all right.
Yeah.
And now they're getting ready to go. And this is a wild leap because Scotty was also asking, how do you know you're going to even end up in the same fucking place? You're this is a wild leap. You have no idea what's going to happen here. Right. But Spock, semi explains this, that time is a river, and you're going through at the same point, so you should end up at the same place.
How long did it take him to write this script? Did you say how long it took, Steven?
The episode was written before production of any of the Star Trek episodes went into production. That's how early this story was on the board.
Yeah, because this one's
they were
fairly
rewriting it
one.
Until they filmed it, to the last second, which is insane.
Yeah, because they're playing with a lot of different concepts here that are complicated.
Ellison's original screenplay won the Hugo Award. Just to give you an idea of how good the original screenplay was, he won the award for that.
Yeah, and remember, Harlan Ellison has written complex sci-fi, so it's not like he's a stranger to it.
Yeah, whole planets of psychic people, and the law systems that a psychic planet would need to have in place to continue to be psychic and free. It's like, this guy is just off the hook. Ellison is a great read. By the way, this is Paramount Studios' New York City set, which also appeared in every single episode of Mayberry. This is where the town of Mayberry was set. There's actually sets that are stayed up because they were filming episodes of Mayberry while this was all the Andy Griffith show.
That is interesting.
Wow.
there's actually recognizable backdrops that are in the Andy Griffith Show in this episode because they just didn't want to swap out the sets.
Do you think Dong Knotts is running around and behind the scenes somewhere?
But they were pissed because they were going to go
there's
over
some guy with
schedule,
pointed
and there
ears.
was like a real thing where they didn't know if they were going to need to do pickups, and they're like, "We're going to need to film all night, guys. We're just going to have to take as much time as we can because they're going to kick us off the set whether we like it or not. So let's get it done."
Well, that previous shot was a fantastic shot, by the way. I was just making it how the one before this.
Which one?
That one. That's wonderful composition right there. That's like grade A composition. I'm just enamored by it. I mean, the shadows that and the buildings that are perfectly lit. Everybody's blocked out, nice and even, so they fit into the frame. It's a wonderful shot.
Mm. Yeah, and that's
for an establishing shot.
That's actually what California skies look like 75% of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's true. Also true.
100%.
Sky blue.
What the fuck am I looking at?
These guys.
We freak out in California if it drops 3 drops of rain.
Yeah.
Hey, he's right.
Yeah.
Mist is a traffic problem.
It's Storm Watch 2023.
So they're like, we got to get the fuck off the street.
Yeah. Hey, just blend in and act natural, okay? With our space clothes.
Didn't have pointy ears. Yeah, they don't blend.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get some clothes that probably have crabs in them.
Ooh, and probably one of the cringiest lines ever written into Star Trek comes up right now.
What is it?
Coming up.
Oh God, you're right. Oh my God, I watched this and I was like, oh, that dialogue.
The Chinese dialogue.
My friend here is obviously Chinese. When
He's
he was a boy, his ears got stuck in a rice picker.
Yeah.
And,
no.
Yeah. No, that's
I didn't
great
make
stuff.
that dialogue up, folks. That's actually in the episode. I am just repeating dialogue. Please
They don't write them like they used to. They should write more like that. God.
And so then they Spock's like, there's some, there's an 8-legged creature crawling on your shoulder, and then they try to, and then blah blah blah. He does the fucking pinch.
That's right.
And
by
these
the
guys
way,
are like,
Spock's wrist doesn't make that noise. It's actually an added feature of the Vulcan neck pinch. It just every time he squeezes somebody's shoulder.
So here we have onlookers also saying, "What the fuck is going on?" And the strangely dressed men are running down the street. They dash into a basement, which is what strangely dressed men do.
Right.
Spock, you don't mind if I play the lumberjack?
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
Spock gets to play a longshoreman.
Yeah. I've always wanted to be a longshoreman, Captain. What the fuck? A lumberjack and a longshoreman? Why are you in my basement?
A lumberjack and a Chinaman? What are you doing here?
This isn't that sort of house.
Oh, God. So Joan Collins is like, really, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, sorry. We're going to be on our way soon. You don't need to tell me stories. All right, we stole his fucking clothes. My buddy here's a fucking alien. We need to, can you help us? I'll help you. I'll help you all night long. So she runs the soup kitchen, and she's like, well, can you guys do some day labor, and you guys can stick around. All right. We need to earn some money for my hobby.
And I'm gonna mention it right now. This is my favorite. This is the reason why I chose this episode. All the temporal mechanics stuff is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. Joan Collins, absolutely gorgeous. And the big sacrifice at the end, spoiler alert. Spock's hobby is like the reason why I fell in love with this episode. We get up close and personal with what a tricorder is, what a tricorder can do. He starts breadboarding circuits that are broken in the tricorder. That just really got me excited. Like, this tech is real. They explored the tech like they explored a culture. And it's like, we hadn't really seen that with somebody opening up a door and saying, here's how this contraption works. It was just so cool. It just really just blew up in my little kid brain when I saw it.
Check out his collar. You can see the green makeup is coming off on his clothes.
Yeah, ouch.
Oh.
Ruh-roh.
This is damn fine bread, Captain.
Oh,
And
more
so-
soup.
This little fellow sitting next to him is like, "Hey, you thought you got to eat for free, huh? You got to hear the broad talk."
You got to hear Toots over here run her mouth.
This
Hello,
is another.
my name is Tits McGee.
She like kids like the show basically.
Let me tell you about socialism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but she goes on here about like she's a nut. One day, I think we'll be in space and everybody will be at peace and whatever. But
Yeah.
which is a little bit, and Kirk's like, hey, she's my kind of lady. Spock's like, Captain, everyone is your kind of lady.
Yeah.
So
But I really mean it this time.
so now he's like, your ideas, they're fascinating. And she's like, there's a room in my tenements open.
Kirk was lying his ass off when he said her ideas were fascinating. Bullshit, dude. Whatever. You're just trying to hit that. No one was paying attention to her.
We don't have time for this.
With all due respect, Captain, who are you kidding?
Yeah, right.
Look, I'm working it, Spock. I'm working it.
Spock, just let me do my thing, dude.
So
Dude, we
Spock's
got
sitting here
all the
like,
time in the universe.
We
Come on.
just did your pawn far thing. Let me pawn far for a little bit.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
So
Yeah,
You
Spock's
owe
don't
me.
block my
You owe
pawn
me.
card, brother.
Yeah, you're always
Wendy's
blocking.
right here.
You're blocking my
It's like-
pawn, dude.
He says
Pawn
he wants
blocker.
like 6 blocks of platinum or silver or something. And Jim's
Dude.
like, well, with the money we earned, I was able to buy a little bit of bread, some greens, this bologna, which I'm going to use on you later, and like a couple of tubes or something. He's like, we're not going to have fucking silver bricks, Spock. And he's like, Captain, for me to work with this is the equivalent of working with stone knives and bear claws.
Oh my God, best line ever.
It is. I love that. I use that
knives
line.
and bear skins.
Yeah, because I'll use that. Like in the Navy, I would use that if we were presented with a bizarre situation, which would have taken far more than we had the resources to use. That's the line you get.
Yep. Same thing in the
Not
in
the one about
in
the bologna.
construction
That was-
industry.
Straight up in this.
It's like, how are we going to pull this off with stone knives and bear skins? That's how we're going to do this whole tile job.
And she comes in. She's like, "Oh, you're together." And now Kirk's explaining, "We live together, but we're not a couple."
Right. Don't make it weird. Let's leave.
You're all I care
So
about, baby.
The boys are cleaning up the room. Spock gets he needs his special tools. Like jeweler's tools to do his hobby.
And
I'm
if
not sure
you
we're
if you
getting
follow
yelled
the
at.
logic of the episode, by the way, they were there for quite some time.
Yeah, they were there for like what, 3 or 4 months or something like that.
Yeah, so this is kind of a good depiction of the passage of a long period of time in like 25 minutes of screen time basically for the time travel part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because their romance didn't really feel rushed to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
No,
within the scope of an
I'm
episode.
not being a dick. I'm not being a dick or joking
No,
at all.
I hear you.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the romance was rushed at all, and it did feel like there was a long passage of time to this. They really
I'm pretty
took
sure
a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying they really took a lot of time and care with this episode
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that the flow was really nice.
Yeah.
The time flow, if you will.
And
Interestingly, go.
another interesting thing is and this is a Harlan Ellisonism probably. So Star Trek exists in what we call a post-scarcity economy, right? Meaning like everything we have now, whether it's socialism or capitalism or communism, there's scarcity-based economic systems where you have to manage resources that don't just magically can't be replicated, like in Star Trek, right?
Mhm.
So our character is kind of a communist in a sense, not in the economic sense, but in the sort of Christian sense of people living together and sharing equally and all that. Right?
Communal. They
Yeah,
would have
communal,
called
yeah.
it.
So she wants to
Utopia.
live in a future like Star Trek, the post-scarcity version of communism, the communal sense that they achieved. But in this episode, in order to achieve that, they have to kill her.
Right.
God, those kind of
Yeah, it's-
Christians are the worst Christians. Can't stand those communal Christians. You know what kind of Christians I like? The kind that conquer Jerusalem.
Wow.
Here's to that, my
Okay.
friend.
All right. Yeah,
A very
avalanche warning,
fundamentalist-
Captain. Avalanche warning.
So
Yeah, look
Spock's
at
got
these
his shit
close-ups.
working.
That remember, up to this point, this was a device that we had never even seen the monitor up close. It was just something that glowed in Spock's face. Like
I've seen one of the
they're
real
real
ones.
buttons and a monitor.
Oh, really?
And it's speakers.
They had this back in the 90s at the National Air and Space Museum. They had the original props from Star Trek.
Oh,
So
cool.
you actually had an original tricorder.
That has to be the most unattractive picture of Joan Collins they could possibly have used.
And medical devices were actually salt and pepper shakers from Scandinavia.
Oh, interesting. That's
She,
fantastic.
she has like those anime eyes that open up when right before the monster eats you. You know, it's like,
Right.
you know.
But we know now that she's gonna die. We don't know exactly how or what, but Spock seems to think this is the event.
Oh, and
I
I
was
wanted to
looking-
point this out. Anybody that's heard the term breadboard, this is a breadboard. Okay, it was a plank of wood that you chopped up bread on, and electric engineers used it as a place to staple their wires and equipment down on top of. It was called breadboarding as early as the 1900s, at the beginning of the 1900s.
We'll call them breadboards, even though they're made of plastic now. When
Yep.
we put those circuits together on.
But this is why it's called a breadboard, because
Yeah.
that's a breadboard that
Yeah.
he's building this thing on. Another feature of this episode. I geek out on this stuff.
FDR. Oh, and this is the FDR confers with Slum Area Angel, and this is now we're getting the because he got both versions of the future through the device, but he knows things that didn't happen. So they assume that lady friend is supposed to die, and then the fucking thing gets cooked. So this is very similar to what happened to my my surge protector when I tried to use a space heater out here in the
Nice.
studio of the Empire.
Yeah, me too.
Interestingly enough, Collins she misconstrued her own character as a Nazi sympathizer. Ellison and Roddenberry would correct that constantly over the years. There's some book that that she was actually a utopian, like the character, like she wanted world peace. She thought everyone could get along if you just talk instead of fight.
Yeah. It's what the effect that she actually creates is a little bit of compassionate hesitation. And it's because we didn't aggressively pursue the future.
Well, no, it's
that's
the A-bomb.
why her timeline is different, because we hesitated for a second.
The development of the A-bomb between Roosevelt and Truman, they were hesitant about it. I mean, it's a very, I mean, I don't want to get, this is a complicated thing to talk just the development of the A-bomb, but so her actions let Germany develop it first, leading them people to conquer the world.
Yep.
There's Reverend McCoy.
Finally shows up, looking good.
I'm green with red spots. I'm green
Doesn't
with
look like
red
a
spots.
Fucking leper or something at all. They would have just beaten him to death with clubs.
And
I'm
for
getting
those
the
who
fuck away from
wonder-
that guy.
Those who wonder how that could happen. Germany had a materials and military tech advantage over everyone in World War II. Because of the U.S., the Allies had a sort of production advantage that no one can match. So the U.S. won by quantity versus quality that the Germans had. And the reason they were trying to develop the A-bomb to use against Germany was they thought they would have to literally start blowing up German cities to take out their advanced technology capabilities to beat them, so to speak.
Yeah.
We should have done it anyways.
There you go.
Well, there are a lot of versions of the war which I think would be better, and the world would be a lot different had certain things occurred. But they did not.
Right. Well, just thank God that Schmittler was dumb enough to attack Russia.
Well, no, the person who screwed it up was Roosevelt. Well, Patton and Churchill wanted to take out Russia then and there, destroy the Soviet Union.
Yeah, that's what we should have done.
And
if they'd done
Roosevelt
that,
stopped them.
Well, and there were a couple instances. I mean, I'll just the brief history things. Yes, the Patton approach to go through and right into Russia while you're there and you have your forces, and the MacArthur approach to go through Korea into China.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they wouldn't
both
have
of
even had
these
to go
were-
into Russia. Almost the entire Red Army, the surviving portion of it, was right there in East Germany, so to speak.
But You know,
I'm
things
just
that
saying.
could have been.
Yeah.
So Kirk's making his moves here. Oh. And McCoy's just running around out in the street like a nut for saying basically the same wacky shit. And then he passes out.
I need more
This
space.
dude's
LSD.
giving him a little field job here. But then he grabs his
Where's
small
the food? Give me the food. Give me the food.
So you get here like the mini phaser. You have the full pistol like one. Then you got this little feller here.
Looks like the Model 1 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one locks into the other, right? This is the actual phaser, and the other one is an amplifier.
Really?
The pistol grip is actually an amplifier.
Well, no,
this one actually plugs into the top.
But they're always called Phaser 1 and Phaser 2. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is not part of Operation Paperclip.
Make the poll.
Yeah.
So Hobo has a phaser. It's like Hobo with a shotgun, except it's
Oh
not.
my God!
And
Talk
he's
about a
fucking-
Darwin. This is a Darwin Award right here, man. Jesus.
And he just zaps himself. I found this strange device, and that's like, well, it's like Luke should
Yeah.
be eyeless or have no head with the way he approached that fucking lightsaber.
I
That's
found
true.
this gun. Let me point it right at my face.
McCoy looks
zombie
actually
looking
worse.
for brains.
He's looking really. He looks like he could be from The Walking Dead here.
Yep. How it really began.
Yeah,
So
Walt's
he stumbles
restaurant.
in. Also gets a feel on Edith Keeler, while Wilford Brimley in the back is about to rush in and help out. So this is Matt. This is where they're talking about the conference. You know, with where they decide not to make the bomb, or not, or no, he's not on time. And then Germany's rise to power. You know, creating the bomb first, and then oops, we lose the World War. We lose World War II. That's a lovely blouse that Edith is wearing there. Nice crochet job. It says, you know, I'm loose, but not that loose.
I too know how to make clothes out of blankets.
Yeah.
Am I dead? Are you an angel? That's a lovely crocheted blouse.
You know,
So he's waking up.
Why would he
speed,
even
do you?
know what crochet blouse is?
Yeah, Roman bringing up the important points here. I see.
Roman's definitely into wardrobe. It's like, look at her lovely blouse. Oh my god.
He's got one
Oh
of those.
my.
He's got one of those in his closet. He's gonna do some
Yeah.
cosplaying later.
Let's not talk about being in
Right.
the closet, fellas. All right, this is a family show. It's clearly not a family show. So anyway, after McCoy gets done talking about the blouse, he's like, you know, where am I? What's going on? And Kirk fucks up.
Yeah,
Edith's taking a
hysterical.
bad step, and Jim instinctively, as anyone would do, rushes to save her. Spock fucking has his ass on this after they're they're in love. He's like, Captain, you fucked up. That may have been the moment she
Dude.
died.
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you get off my ass, Spock? How about that?
This is some clever writing. You think about how simple that beat is, that she falls down the steps and we get the full thing. The camera's way back. We got Spock witnessing the whole thing. So
No,
we're
it's-
witnessing
it's
it from
excellent.
from his angle. And we understand the instinct, so that when the
Yep.
punchline comes in that she's got to die, it's just like, well, how are you supposed to do that? How are you supposed to restrain yourself from an impulsive action like that?
Yeah.
It's really
I mean-
great. It's good stuff.
Technically, she didn't have to die. They could find a way to take her back to the future as long as she leaves the timeline.
Although it would have been funnier if he did let her fall.
How embarrassing would that be if she didn't die? They're all kind of like this, like, okay, you know.
I guess that wasn't the moment.
I guess an alternative scene where they say, okay, let's have Kirk film a scene where he throws our head first down the stairs just in case
Yeah.
we have to use it.
Spock,
Well, it looks
is
like we're the-
now we have to eat her.
Spock, we're heroes again.
Or
Jim,
maybe that a
are
whole
we the
bunch like one where
baddies?
Spock has to kill her by like hitting her with the Vulcan death grip, from the other.
Yeah. He's like reaches out and snaps her neck.
Yeah, the way she dies is Spock has to pawn far with her.
No.
So Jim, you fucked up. And I am actually a longshoreman.
Yeah. Pea coat.
So
Yep, he couldn't watch Cap.
he's got a pea coat as well. It's perfect.
Wait, Roman, what do
now-
you think of her blouse here?
Yeah,
This is a little bit too Elizabethan. I
Okay.
don't like the neckline and the frills. If it had just been like an open neck going down into a V, I think it would have been a lot more attractive.
I've seen your
Okay.
closet, Roman. I know you've got a skirt toe with this blouse.
I'm a pirate. It's like the puffy shirt
It's the
from
puffy shirt,
Seinfeld.
yeah.
Yes.
know-
This shirt is ridiculous. I can't wear this shirt. Although for her it works. If McCoy were wearing it, the scene would be entirely wrong. So she's basically wrapping things up with McCoy. He's like, I don't mind the blouse so much now. He's obviously feeling better. And he's getting ready to get out and about town. I forget where they're going. They actually had a destination. They were
going to the movies. They were going to see a Clark Gable movie, I believe.
yeah. They're on a date.
I am shocked and at what? Is this the blouse thing? Are we getting back to the blouse thing? I'm sorry.
Is it getting weird? Is it getting weird?
Subtle completely disagrees with you. She should be wearing a blue blouse with no frills.
Right.
Oh, I can see that. So anyway, so they're off to the movie, and then from across the street, it's like, Jim! And he's like, McCoy, hang on, stay here. And that hat, what are you doing? And so Jim runs across the street.
And that cape, my God.
They embrace McCoy, who's still wearing a Starfleet uniform. No one finds this odd, which is it's odd. It's odd. I'm pointing out that it's odd.
The circus must be in town.
Yeah, it's his PJs.
And so they're all embracing. Edith's like, oh, it's all of my new friends. They all know each other. I'm wearing a cape. And you see in the background these headlights on their way down the road. Apparently, braking systems weren't what they should have been back in the late 30s.
It's a
and she's
CIA
like,
truck.
pausing,
And
and
knows she has to be killed.
Right.
And McCoy is trying to stop, and Kirk's like stopping him, and she's like, just, fucking looks like a squirrel in the middle of the street when you're driving at night, and he's just like,
Or it's like Scotty in a truck bearing down on her.
I'm gonna fucking kill this bitch.
I kind of have to do something. I have no choice. No more scotch if we don't kill the bitch.
I'm sick of this fucking timeline. I gotta go.
I had to fuck both the red shirts. I'm lonely. I'm sorry, everyone. That was terrible.
Wow.
So Edith's still standing there like a possum. And then McCoy is like, no, Jim. And then it's like, I could have saved her. Do you know what you've done?
No.
And then Spock's like,
I also
he
want to
knows,
point out,
Doctor. He knows.
given the speeds trucks were capable of moving back then, that truck had to deliberately want to hit her with enough force to kill her from the distance we saw it traveling at.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, he was
Well,
like
maybe-
totally asleep at the wheel or something. Because
Maybe they thought she was crazy too. So he knows, Doctor. He knows. And Kirk's beside himself there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Weird
something
fucked up
ironic
planet.
too that I'm just noticing for the first time. She wears a lot of lavender, and we all know what the color of the current religious order in our society is. These
Ooh.
bright lavenders and pale
Mafia.
electric blues and stuff. It seems really crazy that they nailed it way back when with this whole
pretty
purple
sure
belly thing.
Joan Collins just walked on the set what she wanted to wear that day and said, I'm wearing this. And they
It's
Oh,
just
all right.
ironic, man. It's just ironic. I'm sorry.
Hey, Pops. Welcome, buddy.
Pops,
Um,
yo.
Hey, pops.
Hey, you can
How you
if you
doing,
want to
Pops?
pop in, let me know. I can throw you a link if you feel like if you'd like to join us here as we discuss fashion and the
Yeah.
future. So
And Roman's
know-
discussing about being in the closet and stuff like that. You should come in. It's a good time.
not in that way. So they pop back through. McCoy is right behind them, but he wasn't right behind them. So technically, I don't even know how they found their way back to this motherfucker. That's not really explained.
I think the
No,
Guardian pulled them
and
back
in all
out and
fa-
said, "Correct
You
them."
just kind of have to suspend belief at this point. That's fine.
In the
Yeah.
original screenplay, there wasn't a disembodied voice. There was actually a council of giant elders, and there was a device, a very specifically designed device that had switches and handles and procedures and so on. So this whole coming back and forth through time was much more laid out in Ellison's original screenplay.
And that, obviously, for practical reasons, I see why they went with the electric
Yeah.
glazed donut. But the coming back part of it is just problematic from how the fuck did they do this?
Yeah,
I always thought they just put their tongues on the breadboard and plugged it in.
that's true.
Because it's
Just
Shock
think of
I
knives and bear
No,
skins.
I don't think so. I don't know how that would be possible. Oops, not you, Pop.
Well, Sky just got them all in the truck and drove back through. That's how they got. No.
That's right.
Yeah, I just don't know how they did it. Don't know.
Yeah, they got in the truck and they went 88 miles per hour.
Yeah, right at a wall.
And
Yeah, right
it's
into
like,
a
well,
Yeah, because
They're actually
tricorder.
dead here. This is heaven for the.
Right.
Gigawatts, Captain. We need gigawatts.
We need more gigawatts. Great Scotty.
All three red shirts are like,
that's it,
wow,
go,
I think we're going to make it to the end of the episode, boys.
No, they're like, damn it, we didn't get to reproduce humanity with the Hura.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So
they
they
just
come
literally
back
were
to the
gone
big
for a
donut.
second, right?
Kirk's like, well, our uniforms are back on, oddly enough, and the party is still here, so we killed that broad and everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And let's go home.
Yeah.
That's a good episode. That is, making fun aside, it is a fantastic episode.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Well,
a
it's true.
little interesting piece of comedic trivia about that set. In the script, it said ruins. That's it. It just said ancient ruins. And some guy just read the note, made a jot note, went down to the prop department and grabbed a bunch of Roman columns and some
Whoa!
Greek stone pieces.
You
He
keep your
read it
hands
as
off my
runes. Are you
columns.
angry?
Tossed them on the set. And everybody's
Don't
like,
toss my
they
columns.
literally
Don't touch
showed
my
up to
columns.
film and they were like, we don't have time to change this, you idiot. I guess we're just going to film it this way.
My
Yeah.
God.
But this episode is tragic, but not like something bad happens really tragic. It's just she has to die. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't go back and monkey with
The
the past.
utopian has to die
and what's
to
even
achieve
more
utopia.
fascinating about it is Kirk finds out that he can't cheat the system in this one.
Yeah, that's another one too. That's actually a really big one.
Yeah. Like this is actually, I want to say this is like Kirk's first lesson, or the first lesson we're seeing Kirk get of, hey man, there's some systems you just can't skirt around. This is
Right.
and this is one of them.
He faced the true Kobayashi Beru.
That's right.
There you go.
Romans columns.
Roman columns.
Indeed.
Roman's column.
The Guardian of
That's-
Forever sadly shows up in Discovery, from what I understand.
Oh, you're
I would
fucking
prefer-
kidding.
I would have
No, it's
preferred
in there.
the novel Fate of the Guardian, where it gets taken in and put
Who's
into
that
a
tool?
secret location.
Patton Oswald.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
well,
he's
the
the
Guardian.
tool is
He plays
This is
the
why
Guardian.
I said
Yeah.
when they first started
The
Discovery,
Avatar.
before Discovery came out, I was hoping we would get a USS Relativity series, where temporal mechanics was the new warp drive, and we were going to go back into the lore of all of the series, every single one of them, including the animated one. And this would have been an episode where they would have intervened, like one of the red shirts on the USS Relativity would have been driving that truck because Kirk did screw up by not letting her fall down the steps. Right? Like that would have been a whole episode, and we wouldn't have known it until the guy got in the truck. Like that would have been the kind of episodes we could have gotten.
Deep Space Nine could cross over with this episode, and it's Worf and Cisco in the truck going, "No,
Oh God.
Copla. So next one we're gonna dive into here is one that I hadn't watched in a really long time, and Blair brought it up. And I was actually surprised at how much I enjoyed this episode, because I remember thinking the episode was kind of like, but then I watched it and I'm like, man, this was a good fucking episode. And it reminds me a lot of like Twilight Zone stuff. And this is the Squire of Gothos.
oh god."
I just rewatched it today
So-
just to get it fresh.
There's one of the best Star Trek novels of all time, written by Peter David, called Q Squared,
Yep.
which is a sequel to this episode. The whole thing in the fandom about the Squire of Gothos and his people being Q, which never happened in canon, obviously. But if you ever read any single Star Trek novels, this would be one of the 5 that I tell you to go read. Is Q Squared, okay, by Peter David.
I don't remember
because
this
I always
episode.
ask. I'm like I was going to throw that out. I'm like, is Trelane a Q?
Yeah, they think he's like
I mean,
a juvenile Q in the book,
right.
but otherwise, there's another thing where it's like there's Q, and then there's other powers like the Q that the Q.
Oh yeah, like the Organians and all that. There's other beings.
He's like he comes from a race of those kind of beings, so he wouldn't be a Q, but he's like at that level. His people are.
All right, so let's pop on in here. I'm going to pull this thing off and not do what I did last time, like a dummy.
Okay, I'll link to the novel from the Memory Alpha.
Oh, perfect.
Of it.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, it was a novel.
Yeah,
it's one of the 5 best Star Trek novels. And Peter David's an awesome writer. I'll put it in.
You were describing it, and I'm like, I've never heard of Q Squared.
Yeah, I'll put it on private chat and the thing. But if it's if matter of fact, I'm going to do a video. I'll tell them not to now. 5 Star Trek novels I recommend you read. So this is one of them.
Okay,
that's
cool. On it.
Groovy. Okay, so the Squire of Gothos. Gothos. I like my pronunciation better, and I'm going to stick with it.
Well,
potato.
It could be accurate too, because the guy Goth, the writer Goth Werner, what was his name? Stephen. His full name, Goethe. So, I guess either pronunciation could be valid.
He's named a whole planet after himself. What a egotistical bastard!
Hey, if you had the chance, you'd name a planet after yourself too, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
right. Blair de Blair planet.
That's right. We're in the Blair sector.
Yeah. Okay, you're in the Blair sector, and
so this one's interesting. Everybody's got a coffee cup. You never see this. You never see this again, really. There's just everybody's got coffee. It must have just been one of those late nights on the bridge.
And they got no
Voyager
coffee
brought
holders.
the coffee cup back.
They got the whole panel there, and they got like nothing to stick their cup in. You know?
Yeah.
No, exactly. That shit's going. That's going into the panel.
Yep.
That's why we have the no cup rule on the panel because of this.
Because Sulu.
Because they're supposed to be zipping along through a space desert, is what.
Void.
There's nothing there, and then suddenly an anomalous body appears. Blair, you go ahead. This is your baby.
Yeah, they're racing across this desert, and you're taking the sensors readings. Like, there's nothing here. Let's just go to warp 5, whatever. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a planet appears, and they can't believe that nobody's ever found this before. So they're gonna fly right by and do some readings, but then all of a sudden, Sulu stands up and starts freaking out here, and then blinks out. Ta-da! And then
I knew I should have had that second cup of coffee.
Kirk goes over to look at the big giant empty square, and surprise, the same thing happens to him. So they put themselves in orbit, and they get nothing. It's like a hell planet. They got they can't communicate to anybody. Then all of a sudden, they start getting this on their screen.
Readings and what does it say? I can't even.
FR felicitations or
some fucking word. It's not salutations.
Felicitations.
Thank you. It's the old timey writing.
Yeah.
I never learned to read.
Hip hip hurrah.
And Tally-ho.
Tally-ho.
And I believe it's pronounced tally-ho.
Tally-ho.
That's just.
So
this is these. Oh god.
So they didn't want to use their spacesuits because they were told if they beamed down their spacesuits, they'd look ridiculous. Because the spacesuits were in that one show, and they were in space, and you could just it worked in space. But if they were to try to wear those on a planet, it would just be bad. So they're going to go down to Hell Planet wearing some plastic oxygen mask, and
that doesn't look ridiculous at all.
Yeah.
One of the cool things they invented for the animated series, which takes place right at basically in this 5-year mission, were those force field belts that they would use for stuff like that.
Yeah, they
contain atmosphere.
And that dude's holding a laser communication device, in case they can't get through the atmosphere, they can punch
Yeah, it's
through.
like it's a beacon. It's a laser beacon.
Yeah.
Which is also what I call mine.
Didn't that technology eventually evolve into the transporter beacon?
Oh my
that
God,
we see in
it's
Next
another
Gen all the
weeping
time?
angel.
Yeah. Yes, Steven. Yeah, so now they're in this little island of Earth atmosphere with a castle.
And it was cool though. So nothing can get through. The laser beacon doesn't get through.
Yeah,
All their comms are stuck. They're like in this weird little bubble of livable space because the rest of the atmosphere is toxic, and they have this. I don't know how big it's supposed to be. I don't think they ever really said. It's a small landmass of livable space, though.
And let's go walk up inside the big creepy house on
what
space
the fuck is that?
planet.
That's a Viking helmet, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Okay, I'm like looking at it. I'm like, is it a bug? Is it a cat?
I think it's a Viking helmet just hanging on the wall. They'll just tack anything onto these walls, dude.
They will. Anything they can find.
Anything. Like,
Hey, where's the Asian broad who brought us that lizard from the last episode?
Yeah. Tack her to
Just
the wall.
make it interesting, baby. Just make it interesting, man.
You
So
see
this
some
is
party
what I
at
was
my
saying
house
there.
at 5 o'clock.
The Twilight Zone vibes, though, it just felt like you're waiting for the kid to pop out and put him in the cornfield. But it just for me, this is just me personally, to have that kind of vibe. It was which I thought was just really neat and weird. And I don't know who this old motherfucker is.
He's a geologist.
Fucking geologist.
There she is. They have one of the salt creatures.
Yeah, man. It's funny they don't make reference to it. He's like, McCoy's like, oh my God, I almost stuck my my bits in that thing.
But they actually, when they saw that, all of a sudden you start hearing the howling noise that those things made. They do like a little sound effect when they show it. And then the next cubby, well, behind them, there's a bird creature from the menagerie. There's like one of those creatures in a cage. It's behind them.
And this is an interesting landing party. So it's McCoy and like two other fucking weirdos. Because Spock determined that he was too valuable to go down, and so was Mr. Scott. Yet everybody went down to the fucking electric donut.
I know.
Right.
I know, right? Sometimes they make perfect sense. Other times it's like, whatever. It's bridge crew, everybody. Good luck.
But this one actually made sense. They sent a geologist down because of the weird landscape. I don't know why they sent this guy down, just because he's rugged looking. Hello.
And so that's William Campbell, who also played Koloth.
Yes.
Yep. Who could double for Liberace in a heartbeat?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I was just
When I
going
was
to
a little
say.
kid, I thought this was Liberace.
So did
I know
he.
it doesn't make sense now, but when I was like 6, I thought he was fucking Liberace. Not that he was.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is,
Liberace,
he never had a brother named George. So there you go.
Yeah.
Roman also has the same outfit in his closet
Yep.
as well.
You got that coat and the good boots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that's accurate.
I'd
accurate.
wear it.
Look at the detail on this. That's just spectacular.
Yeah,
It's
look
like
at the
velvet.
detail on this. Somewhere on the Napoleon set, they're trying to figure out where the costume went.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's what Kubrick's Napoleon never got made. They couldn't find the right coat. They're just like, oh, forget it. Shut down the production now.
So he's pointing out, what good displays they are. But I suppose you want them back now. The sound effect is a little wonky.
This is George Takei's favorite episode because he always wanted a mannequin of William Shatner.
Oh my!
Oh my!
And they're like,
I love
"What
how
the
he gets off the balcony here. Kirk does this total alpha Chad, like I'm not just gonna walk down the stairs. No,
he's being a total Chad. That's a Chad move. Like, I don't have
swing
to
my
walk down your
balls over.
stairs. Yeah. If you're not careful, I'm going to dunk them on your head.
So this is where Trelane is talking about what he doesn't realize, that there is a time period difference. He thinks they're from the Napoleonic era, and
It's like a
I
900
forget
year.
who-
Yeah, Joan Collins figured out that they were from the future,
Right, but he can't.
but
Well,
he
yeah,
can't.
Yeah, the
Right.
Q Cub cannot.
Right.
because he's all about he's fascinated by the warfare of that era. He thinks it's romantic and gallant, and just he digs it. Although I don't know, he's got a bust of, I think that's
Caesar.
Augustus.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a
is bit out
Caesar
of place
or
in his
Marcus
stuff.
Aurelius, perhaps. It's like,
And
I
they're
hate
trying
to
to
tell
train-
you, but your statue is out of period.
It is. The statue is out of
Yeah.
period. But he's like, bro, you're talking about the wrong stuff. We're from a advanced or more advanced version
That
of
was
the planet. we've been
900.
observing.
Yeah, 900 years ago in our past. And he's kind of like bummed out, like, oh.
He is. He's look at those sideburns though. But he is. He's just like bummed out as fuck. He's like, oh, I'm so disappointed. But I'm sure you have something that will entertain me.
Let me entertain you.
What the fuck
Yep.
is this?
It's
guy?
more space LSD. McCoy is ready.
Yep.
He's-
Say the word, Jim. Say the word.
Yeah, don't worry about me,
Fools ain't
Jim.
looking
I've
at
got
it. Look
my
at those fools, look.
Norwegian salt shaker.
Yeah.
Remember when you hit me with that stuff last time?
And the disapproving look from the geologist.
Jaeger.
I don't know what his fucking. He's got to
Well,
stick up his ass.
I think Peter Venkman's fan site said that he's actually a linguist. But I don't know. This episode is like way off my radar. I barely remember this episode except
Well,
for
the other, well, no, he's a geologist, and the
Okay.
other guy,
His friend.
yeah,
descendant
he's a helmsman, but in later episodes, he's a biologist, and then he's been in a few episodes in different roles, so he kind of like moves around the ship.
somebody's cousin, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, see, he's trying to creep up on him.
Yeah, while he's looking in the mirror, that's just tactically, in case anybody's curious, if someone's looking in a mirror, coming up from behind them is not your best approach.
You're not actually hiding from them.
You're not being stealth. So
No.
he freezes the dude who looks a
He's
lot
all-
like Mr. Styles from the Balance of Terror, but it's not Mr. Styles. But he looks like him for those. So that's a little phaser bit you were talking about, Stephen.
Yeah, you see the way it
It
snaps
slides
into the top?
the phaser.
Yep.
Then becomes
Yeah.
a type 2.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and Trelane gets real excited about the phaser.
Ooh.
Mhm.
It just starts blasting away.
Yep.
Yeah,
At
well,
least
it's
he didn't
like,
aim it
yeah.
at himself this time,
Kill that thing. That thing used to be my wife.
Well, there's the
There
bird
it
thing.
is. Yep.
Look at this. I mean, God, I love it. Set design. So cool.
Yeah.
Are we next? No, because he wants to, he really wants to challenge them.
Yeah, they don't know. Yeah, this is what the real atmosphere of the
yeah.
planet's like. He gives them a taste of it. And he talks about how their technology that allows them to turn matter into energy and vice versa. And
Really?
He
That's
is
the
subtle.
thing that made you say, "Oh my."
He's not so subtle with his deviancy. I'll say that.
So they're still pinging away trying to figure out this planet and how to get through to the crew.
Mhm.
That thing is going to spill all over the
Oh.
fucking controls, Allura.
Nah, it's a space cup. It has a magnet on the bottom,
Right.
Right. like how well they sit in the chairs and they get rocked,
Well, they secure the cup, not themselves. It's like,
Well, the liquid slush around at it.
They should just hang on to the cup in the next storm.
they have warp
Um,
drive, but they haven't figured out cup technology yet.
Yeah, right.
Well,
So
it's a
then,
contract with Dixie that was the problem, I think.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
love,
true.
I love how Uhura's console requires her to contort to reach every part of it.
Yeah, like she wouldn't like turn and face it properly like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like side saddling the thing.
But his is like right there in front of him. Every other one's like right there in front of them. Uhura has to like do this and this.
Yes, she does.
I love that
Um,
awesome, like
Yeah.
fan service thinking back then.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Perpetually
Kirk saying,
profile.
you weren't seriously going to give anyone space LSD again. What's up?
Yeah, right. Really.
Well, fuck
Dude,
them. I
you
feel
didn't
a
bring
little-
that,
I had
did
to
you?
trick you. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, what is Sulu doing in that shot?
And this is when he challenges him to the Does he challenge the duel here?
Some kind of a challenge.
Right?
Damn it, Bones! You gave him space LSD.
Oh
We're
no,
screwed.
that's right. I'm sorry. Forgive me. The Enterprise has figured out a way to cut through the fucking bullshit.
Yeah, and
Bubble
they grab
they're in.
him.
The bullshit bubble is what it was called technically.
Yeah.
And Jim's like, yeah, we're getting the fuck out of here. He's like, no, you're not. And yeah, Jim's like, yeah, the fuck we're not. And he's very upset and they beam out. And they're only on the bridge for like a second though. And Jim's like, we need to get the fuck out of here right now because we are dealing with a force that we do not understand.
That guy is creepy bad, Uncle Touch bad. We got to get out of here.
Hello.
He's got the cane and the cape.
And
he's now space pimping.
Yeah, what's up, pimp?
His bitch has got out of hand and now he's back.
This pimp hand is strong.
I must say, Captain, your deck is awfully groovy.
But Trelane's like, I don't want to hang out here. Let's go back down to the planet.
I specifically like that panel on frame right that does nothing.
There's no lights. It's just kind of there. It's like, all right.
On the other side of the wall, what are they going to do over there?
Yeah, that shit fried a long time ago.
That's the door to the bathroom. That's why it's not lit up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you know there has to be a bathroom on the bridge somewhere, right?
It's not practical. Otherwise, they can't get in a turbo. Fucking who's it every time they need to fucking take a leak. And then they suddenly all pop down to the planet and they brought bitches. I love the way this scene plays out, though. It is very cool. So Trelane's trying to be gracious as best he can, except he lacks a lot of skills, and invites them to join his feast. And everything looks delightful. And Kirk nods to them. Yeah, just kind of fucking play along, guys. We got to figure out a way out of this. You're not gonna win this through a karate chop and the Vulcan death grip. Mm-hmm. Oh, he also doesn't like Spock because Spock figured out how to beam them up. And so he doesn't prefer Spock, and Spock definitely doesn't prefer him. Weeping Angel. And he's like, bitches. So he's making the girl dance like he makes Uhura play the harpsichord. She doesn't like, I don't know how to play this. And he's like, yes, you do. Ping, here's some Matrix knowledge. And then she can play.
At least Uhura got a benefit out of this, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if she retained that knowledge.
Oh, they changes their clothes because they don't like their outfits.
What do you think of this dress, Roman?
Yeah, right.
So my problem here.
Of course, Roman has a problem.
So Uhura's happily playing the harpsichord. She changed her hairstyle, I think, for this episode, though. Didn't she, or am I wrong?
It looks different.
It's shorter.
Or flat.
It's the bangs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, it's shorter on the sides.
Yeah, can we talk more about her hairstyle too and her dress?
So they're dancing. Kirk's like, fucking stop this. And this is when he challenges him to a duel.
A pimp off.
Because they had been discussing off on the side here, what the fuck? There has to be a power source around here to make him be able to do the things that he does.
Yeah.
And they surmise because he likes to hang out near the mirror, basically he's, it's not just vanity. He needs to be near this thing.
Yeah.
That has something to do with this. And so Kirk finds a way to challenge him to a fight. Playing, dancing, get the fuck off her, bitch. Fine, Captain. Let's duel. And this is interesting. So Trelane does pulls the Alexander Hamilton here. Shoots in the air because he wanted to shoot first, and I never miss. And Kirk's like, well, fuck this.
Yeah.
And he's like, my fate is in your hands, Captain. And he shoots, which I think probably startles Trelane. Because I think Trelane thought Kirk was going to do the same thing.
You don't know
As a man of honor, he would do the same thing. And I mean, he still didn't kill him, which was, good, sort of. I don't think it would have killed him anyway, though. It would have been a wasted
No.
shot, and he would have turned them all into salt suckers or frogs or something. So, shoots the mirror. Now, what I find interesting here, and Blair or Matt, maybe one of you guys understands, the mirror has the tech in it. There's obviously some tech behind the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
But Trelane doesn't really need the tech. So what the fuck did they do here? Does anybody know? Does it mean anything? Or is it just a straw man?
I mean, let me take a quick poke at a guess. Is that he's using it like a crystal ball. Like a psychic doesn't need a crystal ball. It's just an advantage to focus their abilities.
Yeah, it probably focuses.
It could be something like that.
Well, think of it from the the Doctor Who perspective. The Time Lords don't need tech to do most of what they do. They just choose not to energize themselves to do it with their psychic powers and do it through tech, right?
Right.
So there's no reason why an energy being can't, have tech. It's just they don't need to do it with that. Plus, remember, like maybe that machine is maintaining this without the Squire of Gothos having a conscious.
Oh, so he can just so he doesn't have to focus on it all the fucking time. That that actually would make sense. Yeah. But the whole illusion doesn't crumble. I mean, the lights go out, the candles burn out.
Trelane probably held it together with his mind. Basically, it was like, okay, wait, he just blew up the thing, keeping them all alive and all that.
Because otherwise, everybody is the bubble burst. Everybody's dead in seconds within that atmosphere.
Yeah. Plus, also, let's not forget too that we don't know what this tech is actually doing. So the room might be maintained by their knowledge of what the room used to look like. So they may be maintaining the room mentally as well, because their brains are part of the network of how this all works. Which is this is why Star Trek, old school Star Trek is so good, because you can have these conversations about a freaking mirror, for crying out loud. It's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they get out. They get back to the ship. They beam
out, and then this part is pretty cool though, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no escaping.
Let's get the fuck away from this. The fucking planet is following us, Captain.
Yep.
Motherfucker.
Look at his face. He's like, oh my God, really?
She just stays in the dress. That's like our uniform for the rest of our 5-year cruise.
If you have fabulous, wear fabulous. That's what I gotta say. So the planet is fucking following them or outrunning them at a certain point. They're heading towards it. They can't not head towards the planet.
Now all of a sudden they realize,
it's Unicron. Unicron is following them.
Yeah. It wasn't so easy after all. The guy who literally made the planet so he can.
Oh my God!
What?
It's the ring.
What?
Like from the movie.
What?
The ring.
What did we say? What did we say? Did I say something?
Look at the image above Spock's back. It's the ring, like the ring from the Ring movie.
Oh God! In 7 days, we're all going to be dead, Captain.
Right. Damn it, Spock! Stop answering the communicator.
You can't answer every hail, Spock. I guess we're gonna hit this motherfucker. And
now he's pissed. They're in trouble now. He actually, in the script, he was gonna wear like a French wig, and the actor demanded it had to be an English lord. So they got on set, and it got to be a point where they actually had to have Gene Kuhn come down and arbitrate it. And he came down on this guy's side, so they had to go to another set and find an English wig so he could have his little trial wig here.
Pretty much
pull that shit off.
Yeah, you think so? I think so. That's how my hair used to be before I lost it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
This harkens. This harkens back to.
This is right out of first and last episode of Next Gen. I mean, this is crazy. What I was
thinking, dude.
It's crazy.
Yep. The tribunal or the whatever the little.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whether your species gets to exist or not, Captain.
Yep.
First time.
Yeah.
The hair actually matches my merkin.
Hold on a second, Copa. You have a merkin?
Well, yeah, dude. Doesn't everybody have a merkin? Am I the only one
that knows the word merkin? Perhaps.
Who doesn't have merkins?
who has the need for one, rather.
Well, you got to be stylish, dude. You can't be walking in there just bald. You got to show. You got to show off that like you're hip and into it.
That's what I try to do every day. I'm hip.
I go for the freshly shorn look.
I'm with it. Oh.
Don't look at me like I'm freaking Frankenstein. So he's looking at him like he's freaking Frankenstein at this point. And, again, first time back on the Enterprise. So he's going to do it himself. Yeah. He brings it over to him. The puffy shirt, yes.
Yeah.
Aha. This is much better.
I feel so weird.
Now, what's weird is this actor is practically in all TV shows from 1963 on. I swear. Yep. It's like he is everywhere.
He was very popular.
Over.
Yeah, William Campbell.
Yep. So they decide that we're going to have this little hunt man thing. Let my ship go and I'll stay and play with you,
Right.
And he doesn't. He just...
he doesn't.
He runs around... Oh,
I didn't understand this move at all. This was very strange.
Well, it's a Kirk,
Kirk is a very unorthodox fighter, dude.
His peculiar fighting style.
Yes.
Yeah. Now he's using a log to beat him. Because he threw his sword away for some reason.
Spock, I hit him with a stick. Get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Now Cage cornered him.
The parents show up.
Yeah, so Kirk has had enough of this crap. He knows he's a kid. He literally breaks his sword over his knee and slaps him. And then right as he's about ready to rip him apart, all of a sudden his parents show up.
Yep. We're really sorry about this, Captain. And they do. Yeah. They basically apologize for the whole thing. And Trillion's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to. And then and he drifts. He becomes, just kind of disappears, goes back into wherever these beings exist.
Yeah.
They gave him a planet. They chide him, saying if they,
we thought it's like they spoiled him. They gave him too big a plaything.
Yeah. If we don't, you can raid a planet, you have to take care of it. You're going to be punished. You can't have planets anymore. And
so, without giving the plot away, the premise of Q squared is that Q is his uncle, and Q is the only one who ever really understood the Squire's mischievous nature. So they kind of bonded along the way. Oh. And the Squire does something because he's punished for this, and he kind of does something really bad. And Q puts it on himself because he's the one who's close to him to try to stop him from doing the worst thing possible.
Yeah, the whole Q universe. No one should be surprised that the look of Q in Next Generation is so identical visually to the proto Q, I guess you could call him, in this episode, right? They almost have the same face, those big, bright, playful eyes, right? That kind of aquiline face, It's crazy that they casted it exactly like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Peter Venkman's right. He had a pretty good dad hand there. He's like, whap, whap.
Yeah.
They apologize. And
getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah. The Spock's trying to how do we classify this? Mental energy, superior being, and then he's like naughty god.
Naughty god.
Or child, whatever. It's basically what happened.
Well, I want to know where the being at the end of the Gorn episode. Where was his parents at? I mean, because that could possibly be a very similar thing.
Yeah, there's actually I think a newer story about that where the Q
really
talks about those the Metrons and the Omicrons and a few of the other energy beings in the universe. How they're all kind of like they all know each other.
Yeah, that shows up in the Star Trek EU with the novels where there's a sort of treaty, I guess you would say, between all the energy beings, and the Q are like the most powerful one to kind of enforce some of that treaty.
Yeah.
like I said, there's a lot of novels with it. They're not all. The one thing about the Star Trek EU is it's not all like one EU because a lot of stuff conflicts with itself. If you know what I mean, there's like hundreds of novels and comics and all that. So, but that's kind of how some of the novels deal with it. These energy beings, like the Ascended. It's like how the Ascended are in
It's G1.
Well, anyone ever read the Culture novels? How everyone evolves into energy beings eventually. They that's a very Ian Banks Culture novels. Pretty interesting, fascinating read. People who want to do them, but all the physical beings eventually merge with technology and evolve into energy beings who exist at higher levels of the universe, and all agree to not mess with the physical universe anymore, so to speak.
I guess G1 with the Ascended. They don't bother with anybody below them anymore.
But they're the only one in Stargate. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or in the Doctor Who, there are actually other races of advanced beings besides the Time Lords.
Oh,
but the Time Lords don't let them mess with anyone. So. Yeah.
So that episode, though, I mean, it laid the groundwork for next gen, obviously.
Mhm.
Like I said, to me, also, I know I'm repeating myself that it did have a Twilight Zone feel, and he literally could put you in the cornfield.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
There's a few
of that Twilight Zone episode anyway, with the kid, with like the guy got turned into a Jack in the Box. I mean, what was the name of that episode? Because it is very much like that same episode.
So what, Copa? What?
I was going to say, does anybody know if there's any writers that switched from Twilight Zone to Star Trek and vice versa? Because there are a couple episodes that do remind me of Twilight Zone.
I mean, the era is right. So
Fontana wrote for both of them.
Okay, because what was Twilight Zone's run? I mean, that was on
59 to right before
63 or 4.
That was the first Twilight Zone.
Okay, so it would have been like a perfect transition time since Star Trek came on in what 66.
Yeah, it would have been like right after that.
Yeah, so I mean that works. So next episode,
if you read the old Astonishing Tales kind of science fiction pulps back in the day, they were accumulations of short stories that were just like this.
Oh yeah. A lot of Twilight Zones were actually previously written as a short story.
I think there's actually an episode of Outer Limits too. That's actually a big part from Asimov's I, Robot novel as well, where Leonard Nimoy is in there talking. He's the lawyer or the police officer that confronts the robot in that episode. So they were borrowing and trading ideas all over the place back then.
Stephen, to answer your question, the episode is named "It's a Good Life."
Oh yeah, that's it.
So this is one of my top 2 favorite episodes of Star Trek.
Roman. It took how many
hours? I know. Balance of Terror. And we see a couple firsts in this episode as well. I mean, first time we get to see the Romulans. Mark Leonard makes his appearance in this episode, and then of course he comes back as Spock's father later on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just there are wonderful things in this episode, and then there are things as a military man that drive me insane about this episode, and we'll talk about all of that. So written by Paul Schneider, who what does he pop up as? Worked television film between the 50s and the 80s.
He's a screenwriter, wrote a bunch of stuff on TV.
Right.
Yeah. He wrote the Mod Squad and $6 Million Man. I just pulled him up on IMDb.
Wow.
I love both the Mod Squad and the $6 Million Man.
Buck Rogers, I remember him doing an episode of that.
Ironside, Marcus Welby, MD.
I think he did some animated
Ironside.
episode too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the big TV stuff from the day.
Why is this so small?
She said.
Nothing is implied there, you fucks.
Jeez, just set that one up.
Well, it's my little enterprise. Actually, I got rid of Little Enterprise. Oh, this whole fucking thing is going to be like this. All right, well, it just kind of is what it is. I don't know if it's going to let me blow this up or not.
As Roman's fixing that, you're going to find these writers either they cross over for the same studios they all wrote for, or for the same genre they wrote for. If you look at what the work they do.
So the episode starts with a wedding on the starship, and this is one of the things that I'm immediately driven crazy by. Yes, it has been the duty of ship's captains to perform weddings, blah, blah, blah. This is a military vessel. These are crew members who were fucking on the boat.
Roman,
That's frowned upon.
Roman,
Yeah.
we have to get into this. Starfleet is not a military organization.
Starfleet is a military organization. They
They
have
are
a
not.
scientific and exploratory element, but
They have dual
are
purposes.
a military organization. Well, they can be dual, but this is
Yeah.
still a problem on board ship. For
Not in this
for
utopian
obvious reasons,
future.
you can't have the crew fucking.
Not in
That
this
was actually
utopian
my
future.
rule number 3 on my detachment. The first rule was don't touch my shit. The second rule was keep your shit tight. Rule number 3 was no fucking. They were fucking.
And this is where ancient Roman tackles a gigantic bear and just cue the music. Dun, dun,
Bear
dun,
always
dun,
wins.
dun, 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 dun.
So they get a distress call in the middle of the shouldn't be happening wedding. And Kirk's like, oh, well, this is fucking over for now. Red alert, bitches.
Did that guy in the background have a black eye?
Um,
Look at the guy over Scotty's shoulder there.
no,
That
I
looks
think it's
fucked
just
up.
bad
Yeah.
lighting.
I think it's just a really tiny screen.
Shut up. I'm doing my best. I don't know why these are so small.
Enhance.
They're so small when I download them.
Enhance.
Oh, I do this for every fucking one. I'm not doing this for every fucking one.
Roman and I talked about this off screen. I was of the opinion when they would bring Star Trek back for the movies, like the Abrams movies, like not that I wouldn't want Abrams to do this, but they shouldn't even bother making. They should just take classic episodes of Trek and make big screen movies out of them. And the 2 episodes I would love to see on the big screen is this and the Doomsday Machine. I think these 2 episodes,
Yes.
more than any other Trek episodes, plus the Ultimate Computer, lend themselves to big sci-fi movie extravaganzas.
Yeah, one could almost say that that the Star Trek the Motion Picture was exactly what you're talking about. That's what I love about it. I know
Yeah.
it's a little slow. I know takes. It's almost like 2001 meets Star Trek, but
Mhm.
it's just like they took an episode and just stretched it and stretched it and stretched it and just gave it all this breathing room and visuals. So it is very similar to actually the Destroyer episode, and so is Wrath of Khan. Search for Spock, where they return back with the whale.
Yeah,
that is also very similar to the Destroyer episode.
and there is such great acting in this episode. Kirk and Liam, I should say Shatner and Mark Leonard playing off each other as captains on their ships and how they have to deal with what's going on. And
So this fellow here is Styles, and we get to know him pretty well in this episode. And again, this is where the military man in me would have a lot of problems, though. So they're having outposts. They're approaching the Romulan neutral zone.
Wait a minute. Why would you have a problem with it?
With Styles?
Yeah.
You mean his blatant, racism and insubordination on the bridge? It's fine. He's talking to the XO of the ship like he's a fucking chimp. It's fine. That happens all the time from fucking JOs. Fuck JOs.
And he's played by Paul Cormie, who you've seen in a lot of other TV shows and stuff over the years.
So we're coming up on, like I said, not a great graphic here, but it was fine for the day. On the Romulan neutral zone.
Romulus and Rami was the
the Roman gods.
So it wasn't Remus, it was
Rami.
Right. I think that's the name of the planet. Yeah.
Right.
So he's sweating. Here's the couple that was supposed to get married. She works for him. He tells her, she's like, yeah, well, we're not married yet. Get to work, mister. Because they use those terms. She's like, well, you're not, you're going to have a very lonely first night. It's going to be pond far for you.
Well, I guess you're not getting that promotion, baby.
yeah, right.
So this poor guy coming up on he's not doing well, and ship came out of nowhere. Didn't see it coming.
Yeah. That's like he just had that Joan Collins soup is what happened.
Wow.
And then it goes to nothing because they fucking blew his ass up. And then it's coming in. Actually, we're watching through his monitor right now.
Right.
Because they're getting ready to come in and finish the job. So they had to materialize.
So
Plasma burst.
This weapon is a planet buster. If you go into the depths of the Versus forums from years ago, that the weapon was so powerful, it was literally a planet buster.
And this is what's left. Nothing. Space. What the fuck was that? And yeah, nothing. Yeah, communications are dead. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I'm sorry. Forgive me for a second. She's picking up a transmission, and Spock. This is a little hinky. How he zooms in on the bridge of the other ship from the other comm. It's you get to see the stuff, but it's a little weird. And he's like, I think I can get an image, Captain.
What happens when you leave your camera on?
Right. That's what happens when you have a cameraman on your ship.
Spock was space hacking. He was the first space hacker.
And then you get the big image of Mark Leonard, the reveal that the Romulans
Are the offshoot of the Vulcans.
Dun,
Lynch.
dun.
Well, that
How
confirmed the
peculiar.
theory.
They ain't my kind, dude.
Then this cocksucker just fucking glaring at Spock through the whole.
Well, they're
rest of
all
the
looking at
episode.
him.
Yeah.
Like, you
Well,
motherfucker.
He's really looking, or they are all.
Don't make us get some more space LSD, Spock. Will use it if we have to.
Yeah, right. And
Yo,
he's
dude, you got-
Why is
okay.
everybody looking at me?
I know you don't speak for all of your kind, but you got to answer for this.
Yeah, right.
And
Stow
Kirk's like,
it style.
because he says some bullshit stuff to Spock at this point. Why don't we ask Mr. Spock what where they're from or what their methods are? And Kirk's like, I won't have bigotry on my bridge, Mister.
Bigot.
Instead, he should have said, "You get
Mr.
the fuck
Bigot.
out of that chair. I'm calling the guards. The red shirt show up. Take him to the fucking brig, and he can hang out there for the rest of the fucking episode. Maybe
Right.
he'll die."
I think Kirk wanted to keep him within ass kicking distance, though. Remember
Sure.
Kirk's mentality is I will handle these problems myself.
That's right. Kirk is like, Bones, set up the woke training exercises.
Yeah.
We could
So
somebody
she's
doing
having some
sensitivity
problems with
training.
styles.
See the ship
Just
in
because they have the
distance.
same ears doesn't mean they're the same species.
Back
And
on
I
the
liked the
Romulans,
bird of
right?
prey design back then.
Yeah, I like the bird of prey design a lot as well.
Yeah.
Not
like
the
the
big,
little
the big
tunics.
giant ship, but the little.
Yeah.
It's nice and clean looking.
I like the little tunics they little wear. The little
Well,
space
the
ship.
Enterprise is not a warship. It's a heavy cruiser type of. It's designed to do more than just fight, basically, right? Whereas the Romulan ship is a warship. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Rather Defiant was all compacted. Like,
Yeah,
everything
I was
had
going to
stuff
say
and all
it's
that.
definitely more reminiscent of the Defiant than
Yeah.
anything else. It's,
So, and
it's
I like
obviously
that
from the
contrast.
same book.
I like.
So I
that
think the
contrast in
Federation got their little helmet designs from the movies from this. Because it's kind of got
Those
the little
stupid leather helmets.
Yeah.
For the security guys that we all hate.
helmets.
This
I
is
always love
fine.
these
If it was
helmets.
leather, it would be weird. So I forget what they're looking at, right? Oh, it's a comet. They're watching a comet. And he's just marveling at the comet. And
Yeah, because you're in deep space. Never seen one of those before.
Yes. So they never put them on screen in TOS, but they did make the designs because they had thought about using them, and they only show up in the novels. But the Federation has warships like the Dreadnought and the Destroyer class vessels. They had designed them. Like the Destroyer was the Dreadnought had the triple nacelles and like 5 times as many phaser banks as the other ships and all that, and triple layer shielding. There's another actually one of the novels I recommend called Dreadnought. Anyway, but I just love the contrast,
so the fellow in blue here is getting a reprimand because he felt the need to radio home to tell them of their great victory over the Federation outpost, which of course compromised their position. And this is he calls him a Centurion, right? That's his friend, and then he's just the Romulan commander. I don't think they have names, but he tells this guy, "Dude, you fucked up. You were demoted, 2 positions in rank." And the dude's like, "Bro, you got to watch out for ones like this. He's got, he comes from a powerful family. He's got devious fucking motives, much like Copa."
Yeah. No, yeah. I thought you were describing me for a minute. You're absolutely right.
But you get kind of a Spock or even a McCoy Kirk relationship between these two dudes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
So
where
you
he's
would say they're like
"Bro."
mirror opposites of what's going on the Enterprise?
Well,
Would you say that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say they are. Oh, wait, what? I think I'm misunderstanding you.
No, there's definitely a parallel going on here with styles
Yes.
and the demotion of somebody breaking.
Oh yeah,
orders and-
You're juxtaposing the one scene for the other, and it's
yeah.
similar, not same.
Yeah, both captains have
very
to take
close.
care of disciplinary problems on the bridge, and
Right.
And
they have confidants they can talk to.
Romulan Commander, I don't think really wanted to be on this mission in the first place.
No,
And he's like, bro, we need to get the fuck out of here and go home.
Dude, this is Sean Connery and Sam Neill, by the way. I mean, like, it's the same exact thing going on here.
I was about to bring that up, Stephen, because in the 60s, the communist states like Russia and so the Soviet Union, and China were very big things, and they had political officers in their military who were always radiating home about doing the decisions.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what they're doing here. And Hunt for Red October, you saw the political officer constantly trying to intercede with the sub commanders, and they had to run around him. So that's what that guy was doing. And that's when they were writing this, they're showing that the military, which is us, the ship's commander, is sort of being flummoxed by the political situation. You know?
Right.
How much longer do you think we're going to have a political officer on our ships?
Well, it's hard to say.
They're already deployed.
Oh,
For a few more years.
No, they're already deployed.
Well, they certainly got it at Disney.
This is the shield material of the planet. This is the hardest substance known to our science. And he just crumbles it in his hand because it's been so fucking beat up by the plasma weapon. And fucking Styles, this guy should not be allowed to be walking around right now, first of all. But he does it again. He's a complete dick. Going on about, you can't let the Romulans win, Captain. They'll or run away. They'll go and report back, and they'll send their whole fleet to destroy us. Ask Mr. Spock. You know all about these people. And Kirk's like, motherfucker, and Spock's like, he's right, Captain.
Wow.
If they are indeed an offshoot of my Vulcan blood, and I think that likely, weakness would be the worst thing that we can show.
Romulans are the reason why they keep deodorant locked behind cages.
Wow.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah, CVS does not like Romulans.
Yeah, so they keep they keep closing like stores near Romulan, very heavy Romulan areas.
Yep.
The writing here, by the way. So remember in the World War II generation, Japanese and people and Italian people on the West Coast were put into internment camps, basically.
Yeah.
So they were considered having conflicting royalties. That sort of thing, socially but not governmentally, was continued with when the U.S. was sort of going against the Soviet Union and China, with people from those countries being considered having conflicting loyalties. And this guy Styles is being written in a way that reflects the societal sort of pressure with the Cold War pressures of like, well, Russians loyal to the Soviet Union if they live in America, or same thing with the Chinese. There's a lot in Star Trek. There's so much in Star Trek. I know we're taking a humorous approach to this with most of our reviews, but there's so much depth to how much these writers put into these episodes in this and in Next Generation and in some parts of Deep Space Nine. And to see the garbage Trek that came out after that with no thought to this depth.
Well, that's just a take on modern writing in general, is that they don't even take the time to think things through. Take Mandalorian season 3, for instance. If they actually if they actually took rubbed two brain cells together and thought about the story they were writing, they wouldn't have so many plot holes that they have. But they don't even do that. They write one draft and it's one and done. They just barf out this material, and then they all high five each other, stop jerking each other off, and go get a burrito.
Good job,
that was
Bobby.
excellent. What'd you think? Well, yeah, you put one word in front of the other. That's excellent. Wow.
Yeah.
You could do something a fifth grader could do.
Well, speaking of fifth grader, I want to do a brief. When you ask me what I'm doing next, Roman, I want to mention this specifically. But right after this, I've decided a few hours going to film a video on this. The little girl who played Leia in Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I heard
about that. She made a comment. She's like, "How could anyone believe how badly that was written?" And she's 10.
Right.
And she's talking about her own TV show, and she was on the show, right? Of things going on, like when she was under the jacket in episode 3 or whatever it was.
So bad.
And I if you listen to my live take on it, I was ripping that. I ripped Fulton.
Yeah, when they little rascaled her out of there.
Yeah. But the 10-year-old or whatever she was is smarter than the adult writers writing the show.
But it's like what Stephen was saying about 20 minutes ago, which is we can sit here and have an entire conversation about a mirror.
Yeah.
Because the writers took time, effort, and care. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're flying they're flying through the comet, which will make them visible. This is just tracking their probable course based on where they were. Jim's just using regular sea tactics here.
Yeah, and again, they harken back onto this same episode because there was still so much meat on this bone even after we all saw it that whole game with Khan in the cloud in the nebula is all about 3-dimensional combat as opposed to 2-dimensional combat, and a lot of that is explored or invented in this episode. It's sub-combat.
Well, the writer or writers on this clearly had some sort of advanced, like, I don't know if they were in the military or had at least read about it or whatever, but
a lot of guys were military veterans.
Yeah. There's a lot of thought in how they stage this. It's one of the reasons I love this episode so much. And, when I did space battles for years, and we would talk about this episode, and so that energy, the plasma weapon, which is a planet buster in a sense that the Enterprise is traveling at multiple speeds of light, running away from it. It's managed to accelerate and catch up with the Enterprise, and the Enterprise we know can take planet busting shots. It's done so in this show, yet it the scale of what they were thinking with the maneuvers and, they actually thought, well, Kirk's going to have this plan to run away from the thing so it loses energy, right? So that means they had to know about the law of diminishing returns, the inverse square law with energy flowing off of a distance and all that sort of stuff to consider that a viable tactic for Kirk to use in combat. So there's a physics awareness by the writers of the show. It's okay, I'll stop nerding out over it, but it's like it's
so
very,
Kirk lets
very
loose with a volley of Hail Mary shots, essentially, around where the ship should be exiting the comet's tail. And he's like, motherfucker. And he's just firing away. And he's like, he's not happy, obviously, but he's kind of marveling at the insight of his enemy, at his skill as a commander.
Yep, more of that Shatner and Leonard interplay as actors, like contrasting their approach to this. Kirk is reluctantly but aggressively know he has to kill these guys at Captain Impossible, kill them. Can't let them get home with that weapon with proof that it works, because they can make 5 of these ships go around and blow up every Federation planet. I don't even know.
Yeah,
right.
Something heavy falls on the Centurion, and he is sad. So Spock was doing some repair for Uhura because obviously there's no fucking technicians that can just do this shit. So you have your first officer digging around. It shorts out. Spock catches on fire. And the Romulans show up, and because the Enterprise is not invisible, and this is where Kirk has his brilliant thing, full fucking reverse, bitches. And they're trying to outrun the blast. Here he gets a little Yeoman Rand action in. Oh,
this is the last episode. It said,
"Oh, that's sad."
Well,
I love the weave thing going on with her hair here. It's just
there's a truism here. When primates think you're going to die, you instinctively try to clutch other primates like it's an offering thing, like a comforting thing that you want to do.
That's not true. That's not true. I push people over.
Well, you're not a primate.
On my way.
You're not a primate. You're
so
like,
the wave is dissipating as they're going here, but they get hit anyway.
Oh yeah, he's going for the grope right there. He's going for the tick.
Yep.
The one last tick grab.
I'm sorry, Rand.
Whoopsie do. I'm sorry.
And here's the couple that was getting married. He's like, "Bitch, you okay?" She's like, "I'm still mad at you from before. Do you remember that time you talked to me so bad?"
Yeah.
And Spock's like, "Well, we made it." Centurion isn't doing great here. And he's like, "Man, I just want to go the fuck home." and Centurions, and he's like, "Hey, dude, what are we gonna do here? What's our play?" Spock's a little close here, even though I don't know if he's intentionally trying. He might just be making a boss move on Styles. Like, what do you think now, Mr. Styles?
Yep.
Yeah.
A little close, Mr. Spock. That's what I fucking think.
Say it to my face, Mr. Styles. I will show you the Vulcan death grip.
I'm gonna pawn far you. And so Kirk again, he's Hail Marying shots, and he's fucking hitting them again. And it's fine. It's you want to talk luck though. There's a lot of luck involved in what Jim Kirk did. And he's like, it is time. So he's been trying just to get away from this fucking fight. And dickhead here with the helmet on.
Pulse burst of phaser fire.
Yeah, just trying to basically drive them. And he's like, well, if you're not going to do it, let me have the honor. He's like, you know what? You can go fuck yourself. We need to get some debris and put it into this and include the Centurion's body. And do we have any of the old nuclear warheads aboard? Wait, what? It's an odd thing to be carrying around with you, but yes, we do. Oddly enough.
Yeah, I got one here in my back pocket. Duh.
So Spock's like, hey, there's some fucking debris ahead, dude.
Yep.
It's like the old sub trick.
No, we haven't gotten to debris yet, have we? No, we're not at debris yet.
Yeah, it's like the old sub trick. You put a bunch of stuff out. Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna. Yeah. So Kirk is he's back here having a bit of a moment, and I don't know. Rand's feeling kind of, she's like, he did grab me on the bridge. That was kind of nice. I liked it. And she just wants to be back to make sure he's okay, which is again. That while it's lovely, there is no way that in the chain of command she would be showing up at his fucking quarters.
And why?
She had previous.
Because there's no fucking on the ship. That's why.
There's no fucking on the ship.
Well, she's his yeoman. She's specifically his yeoman.
Well, it doesn't mean she just shows up. She comes when
she's his personal secretary.
That is her job, to come when he calls so she can do whatever the fuck he needs. And she would just show up unannounced, like, hey.
Well, that's like a British thing, though. British captains have yeomans and secretaries and cooks and all. So
no, the setup isn't much different than regular Navy stuff.
What I'm worried about is yeomen of the Empire coming into the garage and shutting down the show. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, we are a little bit pressed for time, and I apologize for that. So McCoy shows up. He's like, Jim, you old salty dog. And he gives them this nice little speech here, in all the universe, there's, this many stars and this many galaxies, but in all the whole thing, there's only one of us. Don't destroy the one named Kirk. Which is, it's a reinforcement of the friendship bonds between these two men. There's poor Spock's down there fucking around because Timmy the Tech wasn't available. And he reaches up and he accidentally hits a control because Enterprise has been running silent, just trying to, not alert the enemy to where they are. Yet they do. Styles gets, Spock did that on purpose. And Jim's like, fuck off, Styles. Spock's like, I didn't do it on purpose. I know how it looks. And he's like, we got a fucking break, dudes.
Okay, so now I remember it. So the visual effect they used for phasers here that Kirk called proximity blast.
Yeah, blast.
They later, when they invented photon torpedoes, the same visual effect that was used for that. Yeah, that's what I was remembering. Yeah, this is the first time you see it.
So photon torpedoes aren't mentioned yet.
They don't exist in the writing yet. Yeah, but the proximity burst Kirk called, the riders eventually turned into photon torpedoes with that visual effect.
So, at this point, this is when he decides he's putting the shit into. I'm sorry, I mixed up my timeline a little bit. This is when he decides to put the debris, the nuclear weapon, and the Centurion into a debris field, so that they're trying to, lure Enterprise in. And then Spock figures out, that's debris, dude, but it's not enough. And one metal canister, katoom. Dun, 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 dun. Look at Uhura. Yeah.
She's selling it. Yeah. She's really selling that. But you have the guy right there in the middle and the guy in the frame right.
He's going the wrong way.
They're both going the wrong direction. So, all right, guys, can you know your left from right? Guys. when the director says left, you go left. When he says right, you go right. This is not hard.
So
These two
they do this
morons.
thing to make Enterprise look like she's listing in space. That doesn't happen. It's space. But it's the visual, so you understand that she's in trouble.
And the interesting thing here, a nuclear weapon, when it explodes in space, there's actually no like air concussive burst or any of that sort of stuff. 99% energy is released as gamma rays or X-rays, which basically, if you're within range of it, like if you're within the burst of the short range, it's like being hit with a massive microwave oven burst. It vibrates you intensely, so much so that you basically disintegrate.
Sorry, I took that as a euphemism.
Hmm.
So they're like, okay, do we want to finish him off? And he's like, no, I want to go the fuck home. I still want to go the fuck home. I've wanted to go home since this fucking mission started. I'm gonna fucking kill you all. I want to go home.
Right.
So now they're down here at the phaser station. I never really understood why there's like a separate place that they have the phaser controls. When in other episodes, the phaser controls are based on the bridge.
The bridge controls them through automation, but the phaser rooms actually deal with the day-to-day banks. Like there's guys down there making sure that things function, so to speak.
Got it.
Yeah. And if the bridge control gets cut off, Kirk can through the communicator say, target this and fire that.
Right. So, okay, that makes sense. Thank you. So Spock's down there trying to figure out if they need anything. Styles says, you've done enough for today, Vulcan. Again.
That's, by the way, that's what Kirk did on the Farragut before that got him famous. He went to the phaser room and took the shot from there.
Okay.
You know, before they kind of retconned that a little bit later.
No one notices this dangerous coolant leak going on. It just kind of bursts, and then there it is. And then everybody in the room starts like, oh, fuck, it's a coolant leak. And then they're on the floor. And then they're coming back, and they're getting closer, and he's going to finish him off. And Kirk's like, phasers! Why the fuck is Uhura at the goddamn helm? Spock's like, he hears the command because Kirk's blasting this over like the 1MC, the full ship channel. We need phaser. And Spock's like, I just came from the phaser room. That's peculiar. And he comes in, and the pink haze is everywhere. Styles is fumbling about. This poor guy ain't moving. Spock stumbles over, hits the buttons just in the nick of time. Does the short blast, but they're like right fucking there. So they blow the fuck out of the Romulans. And again, this is all blind sneaking luck, which is most of Kirk's career, but that's fine. That's, sometimes you just need the luck.
We all know that guy. We all know that guy who gets lucky 24/7.
Yep.
And now we're showing the Romulan vessel listing in space, also just a visual so you know that they're damaged. Although if you look at the ship itself, it looks perfect.
Yeah.
So
the ship is
still
sturdier than the crew. I mean, if you vibrate the ship enough, the crew will be
clearly.
splattered on the inside.
Sulu oddly shiny in this shot. And he's talking now to the Romulan commander. He's like, dude, we can beam your survivors aboard. And they have this nice back and forth, and the Romulan commander's like, no, it's not our way. It's like, it's a pity. In another reality, I could have called you friend.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Only one last duty to perform.
So
and Kirk doesn't try to stop him. He knows. I mean, it is what it is.
Two notes here. There's a cut scene where they talk about this ship being stolen Federation technology, which is why Kirk is interested in getting the ship itself. Yep. And there's a novel follow-up to this. I believe it's called My Enemy, My Ally by Diane Duane. Another really good novel where his cousin or sister or something like that is a Romulan commander who wants revenge on Kirk she goes after him for decades.
Wow.
But eventually
that good revenge story is always nice.
Well, they had to become allies because of something else happening, which again,
Okay, so they're all gone. Styles has survived because Spock saved his ass, but the fraternizing young officer who was effing his junior staff member died. So they're not getting married. Jim tries to. He's like, this is all part of the business. Buck up, little camper. Now he says that's right. But that's how the episode ends with sad. It's just Kirk walking through the halls of Enterprise. Basically the burdens of commands. That's
that guy
good and bad.
Her husband might have been about to be promoted to be a first officer somewhere. Those gold shirts aren't just helm; they're also command.
Introducing Mark Leonard as Romulan commander. Yep. Styles, Paul Comey, and That was the other. That wasn't the Centurion. That was the other dude.
No, Decius, if you want a Latin pronunciation. Decius.
Yeah,
That was the guy.
So a little bit of trivia on this one. So budgetary and time constraints prevented the makeup and costuming department from dressing up as Romulan, each Romulan in Vulcan ears. So that's where the helmets came from.
Pretty good. That's smart.
Yeah.
That makes a ton
But
of
also
sense.
fits the Roman look that they were giving them.
Yeah, that's true too. They wear bronze helmets. There's
Yeah.
definitely that look.
Yeah.
Well, the whole uniform and the Romulans, the title of the ranks.
Very Romanesque.
It's Romanesque. It's fine.
And the dude who played Stan played one of the Romulans.
Oh yeah, I think yes.
I don't know which one it was.
I think it was the dude, the one who the dickhead, the one who fucked things up for everybody. I think it's that guy. So anyway, that's it for our Star Trek reviews of tonight. Our talk through of this little batch of episodes. We will be coming back with a volume 3 at some point down the road in a couple of weeks. So we're going to go through real quick because I got to run. Stephen, what do you got going on, buddy?
Actually, nothing really on the docket right now. Nothing really prime, nothing really nailed down. I might have some things going on Sunday, but I'll tweet about it.
Right on. Kobayashi Baru.
Well, I mentioned I'll be doing a brief video about that Leia thing I talked about.
Yeah, man.
I'm working on my Picard reviews. I want to try to speed through 3 or 4 episodes this week because I watched the episodes, but between work and all that, it's just tough to find time. We got some wrestling reviews, reactions, I should say. I posted some cool stuff, older stuff there. I have 2 more Bleach episodes, which I'll get out by the end of the weekend to review. I might do a general episode where I talk about some TV shows I recommend that people just didn't notice that happened in the last year or so. People for some reason still haven't found From, season 2 is coming out. The show The Night Agent just happened, first season, pretty good thriller, so a couple things like that. And The Rig, which I know I told some of you guys, but no one seems to have noticed this nice little horror sci-fi single season of a TV show. So that's what I got going on.
Appreciate it, buddy. You're good nerds.
Oh, and the novel I will do like five Star Trek novels. I will recommend.
Oh yeah,
I already mentioned several.
That's a good thing to put together.
My Henry, my Ally, Q squared, and
right on.
And Dreadnought.
Okay, Copa.
All right, yeah, I'll make this quick. I have a YouTube channel where I do movie reviews, TV reviews, things of that nature. So you could come check me out there. I've been covering Mandalorian since episode 1. Thank God we're almost done with the show. Next week is the last episode. My review should drop Sunday in the afternoon. Also, I have a book that I wrote. It's called Why Not Wichita. You can find it on Amazon. There. Get that shine off. Hey. Ooh. You can find it on Amazon, paperback, or on Kindle. Check it out. You can just search Why Not Wichita. It should be the first thing that pops up. And that's about it. I don't have anything really set in stone for the weekend, so here we go.
And your Mandalorian reviews have been fantastic.
Yours as well, sir.
They make it worth watching the show. So it's like, I know what he's talking about.
Yours as well. Yours as well too. I look forward to yours as well. I look forward to
yours are very stylized and they look really good. Mine have a lot more fuck in them. That's the the difference.
Yeah. Yours has a lot of fuck. Mine has a lot more suck. Together we fucking suck.
Well, all right. We're all in trouble now. Blair de Blair, what do you got coming up, buddy?
I've got nothing. So there you go.
What the fuck, Blair? All right, Blair's got nothing.
In conclusion,
Blair with the heavy nothing bomb. All right, well, I want to thank you guys very much for the panel doing this again. This is a lot of fun. We can talk Trek for many hours, but sometimes I just don't have many hours. Mm-hmm. So this was good. we banged a lot out tonight and talked about art. Some of just the absolute best episodes that this show has had to offer. And again, chat, you guys are always bringing, I'm looking over because to me, that's where the chat is. You're always bringing it. You aside from your humorous comments, which I love, You give us those little tidbits, little, the nuanced things that are going on that we don't even necessarily know about, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for dropping by and taking part in the conversation with us.
Mhm.
Before I drop off, because if you guys can hang out for a minute in the green room post credits, if you don't mind. But for everyone else, thanks for hanging us out, talking Trek. This has been Roman of the Empire signing off. Please like and subscribe. And if you're watching this post broadcast, please leave your comments, because we do like to read them and find out what the hell you guys think about what we think. So farewell.